We are live.
Good afternoon and welcome to the East Hampton Town Architectural Review Board meeting of today's date, which is April 22nd, 2021. I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting and open the meeting with the approval of the minutes from our prior meeting on April 8th, 2021. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes. Is everyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The first application on the agenda under agricultural overlay is James Frank, care of Kyle Roos. That is tax map number 300-196-1-2.2, 11 Town Line Road in Waynescott. And possibly Michael Kyle's on the line, hopefully.
Yes, Chair. Kyle is joining the Zoom as we speak. If you could see that populate in just a second. Kyle is in the Zoom meeting and looks like video soon to turn on. Microphone hopefully soon to turn on as well.
Hello?
Hi, Kyle.
Yes, how you doing?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
We're all doing well. We're glad you're with us. Esperanza is going to read into the record what the application is for.
This application is a proposal for a new residence.
DCM.
Pardon me?
Oh, go ahead. The map number?
I did that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
In the application, it is described as a house with a 3,760 square foot footprint, 6,295 square foot gross floor area, 980 square foot attached garage, 200 square foot pool house, pool, covered rear patios, pool patio, 121 square foot pergola area, and well, so forth. I don't know if I need to read all of that. We had this application before us at the last meeting. The address at Town Line is within the agricultural overlay district. And so we did review most of the submitted elevations, and my opinion is that most of the board seemed favorable to the proposed materials and the placement of the structure on this property, because the new structure, which would replace an existing structure that is pretty far forward and closer to the road, the new structure would be set toward the middle of this property, which is sort of long and narrow and has a scenic easement in the back, in the rear. But for the most part, it's just a residence that's a contemporary take on a traditional farmhouse, and all of the materials, cedar siding and 2/2 windows and so forth seemed favorable, I believe, from the last meeting. I think the one thing, and this is the applicant is before us today for review of the proposed lighting on the structure, and also there was a design element of 2 triangular windows on a northwest gable area, which is on the front facade of the house, and it has been replaced with a sort of wagon wheel or circular window in that gable. So Brittany, or Kyle, you're looking for the pictures or the elevations rather? Okay, thank you.
While he's doing that, I'd also like to mention to Esperanza's point about the easement in the back, that to the south property is a horse farm.
Oh yes, thank you, Betsy. Yes.
And a lovely one at that. So Kyle, let me just ask a question real quick, because Esperanza mentioned that the building enclosure is pretty much in the center of the property. In the back, what's currently there now is an old shed cottage barn with, I think there's an underground pool. Is that pretty much that area where the house will be going, or will be more towards the front or more towards the back?
Roughly, that's pretty much where the house is going to be going.
Okay, that's what I thought when I visited the property. It made sense.
Yeah, it's just forward of that area, Betsy.
Okay, so let's talk about the lights first. There's since we're on this page and the fixture is there. Remind me, Esperanza, what was our review of that last meeting?
They weren't, I don't believe they were on the elevations, so we didn't have that specified, nor were they spec'd out. So this actually shows the proposed fixture, which is dark sky compliant. And then on these elevations, you can see it might need to be zoomed in a little bit, but
I think this was the one from last meeting, and the new one has the new one with the circular window has the light fixtures on them.
This has the light fixtures.
Does it?
Yep, they're really teeny tiny. They're at each side of the doors, by the garage. So you can see them. I don't know, can you blow this up a little bit?
Yeah, yes, I can see them on the bottom elevation of the garage and the pool house.
And the pool house, correct.
How do you get that to be big?
And then if we could go to the next rendering that shows the other two. See, I didn't see them on this original. Oh, no, this is the second one with the round.
Yes, yes. And so you see, I had a question actually with regard to the lighting on the elevation that's on the bottom here.
Right, me too. Go ahead.
There are two windows located at each side, light fixtures located at each side of that the lower level expanse of 5 windows, or are they doors? I wasn't sure if that was, I presume those were doors, and that's why the light fixtures were there. Just wasn't clear.
Yes, those are doors.
They are double doors.
Okay. So is the center one a fixed door, or are these all doors?
Yeah, they're those type of accordion doors.
Okay.
And that's the east facing elevation, correct? Towards the back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the garage is attached, and we saw the elevation of the pool house. You want to talk about the window up above on the second, well, it's not a second story, it's a first story cathedral ceiling that faces the front facade that we're looking at.
The circular window, you mean?
Yeah.
My just aesthetic appreciation of this is that it seems to be out of place with the rest of the design, just as the previous triangles were. I don't see how this particular element goes with the rest of what is proposed on this house. Like, even with with everything is very sort of a contemporary interpretation, as I said, and even there's the steel cable railings in the back and so forth. That's my personal aesthetic take on that, is that it doesn't really complement the rest of the design.
I actually like the original design compared to the circular one better, if we had a choice. I don't know what anybody else thinks. Kyle, can you pull up the old elevations that look like this, the file, that we can see what was there originally? And before I ask the board their opinion, Kyle, do you want to talk about, this window? Because I know you wrote a letter, if I'm not mistaken, representing the owners with their interest in having a lot of light in that room. So if you want to speak to both of these types of windows and what the owner prefers, we could then pull the board on where they're at with it.
Okay. Well, the owner's concern was to bring a lot of light into that room, and so by switching it to the round window, which is what they really wanted, they still get a lot of light. I cut the size of that window down, so it doesn't, it's not really very large compared to the profile of that elevation. But this is really what they really want to have a round window.
So even though you originally presented this shape of the window, they prefer the new submit that you submitted, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Jonathan, where are you on this window? Do we know the dimension, just so we could have our mind's eye, how big this window is?
The round window?
Yeah.
Yeah, the round window is 4 foot in diameter.
Pretty big. Because, excuse me for a minute, Jonathan, on the renderings, it doesn't present, if we can go back, Kyle, to the rendering that we were just on with the round window, it doesn't present that it's 4 feet in that scale. Am I off on this,
Yeah.
Jonathan?
No,
I can hardly see it. It's so small on my screen. This comes up as a small thing. There should be the whole window,
You can pinch it up. You can pinch it up, it gets bigger.
Well,
Yeah,
but what I'm saying, the way it's illustrated.
Yeah, well, it looks like a 4 foot window.
It does? Okay.
Yeah, the other windows
I think it is
below
too,
are probably
Betsy, yeah.
3 foot.
All right, my take on it was about 36 inches in diameter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 3 foot, yeah.
It looks small.
Everything that's black is really black, including the railings and stuff? Kyle?
yes.
What is the color of the window trimmed
That's
and
what,
doors?
The windows themselves are black. They'll have a white trim around them.
Mm-hmm.
They have white trim around them and there's natural color shingles. Is that what that is? Or
yes.
Cedar.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, cedar. And the railing is black? Or is that a roof?
The railing,
No, that's the
railing is-
standing seam roof.
The metal roof.
Right.
Oh, that's
That's
a
metal
metal
roof.
roof there, but not a metal roof on other places?
Let's
Just-
look at the back elevation.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I don't want to see the back elevation. Yeah.
Right.
It's it's to me it's like Chinese food. It's just too much stuff. I think that the two triangles create more chaos, and the circular one seems to be slightly less chaotic. So that's why
Diane, what's your take on this window? Is it important to you in any shape or form with regards to our review with the agricultural overlay?
Well, I think in regards to the light emitting, it's probably less than those two big triangular windows. I mean, I agree with Betsy that it doesn't seem to me to fit in with the house, but it's a very personal.
Right. Who am I missing? Chip?
Farmhouses were evolved. They were built over time. There were additions, there were changes. I find the round window much preferable to the first triangular windows. And I actually think it's a plus. I love the round window.
Okay, excellent.
there is a triangular window that's traditional in East Hampton from early time, which is
But the one they presented was nothing like that. I know
nothing
those
like
windows.
that at all. Zero.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. No.
All right, well, if nobody really has any, really strong negative response to it, I would like to, let the round window be, considering that the owner is more interested in that than the original presentation. Anyone have an objection to moving forward?
No.
Okay. Do we need to analyze any of the locations of the light fixtures before we move this forward? Or are we okay? Let's go through these elevations and just take a quick look.
Yeah.
So this is the front, and I would imagine that there's a light fixture of some sort underneath the metal standing seam roof by the front door.
Yeah.
How is that presented? in that area,
It-
Kyle?
You can't see the light because they're all in the overhang roof.
Okay, so
Oh,
they're
ceiling.
flush mount lights. Okay.
Right.
Are they going to be on at night? I mean, are they going to be lighting the facade of the house?
They're underneath the overhang and over.
Yeah,
the
but
floor.
that can be the worst possible light. I have a house just like this on my street, and their lights are on every night. It looks like the airport. So what is the purpose of the lights in the soffits?
Well, you have to have.
Well, it
You
would-
have to have a light at the front door.
Okay, I'm fine with the front door, but they're not in the other soffits, are they?
No, it's
No,
just,
no, no.
I was asking specifically about the front door.
Okay, okay,
I didn't
okay.
see any sconces like there you have on the other elevation.
Got it.
Okay, so then the back one is by those accordion doors. And I see there's two up on the railings on each of the second story decks.
Right.
Right?
Yes, on the left there, and then by the other little door on the right.
Right, okay,
And- yes.
let's keep going. Do we see the other elevations, Kyle? There, okay, and then there's over the garage door by the pool house and,
Well, there are 4 over the garage door
right.
on the lower elevation.
Mhm.
There are 2 at each side of the sort of shed access to the garage in the rear here.
Mhm.
And there's 1 by the basement access.
Okay, I see that.
Presume that's for the basement access. And then, right, 4 above the garage and 2 on each side of the glass doors of the pool house.
Okay. I don't have any other questions about this. Does anyone else on the board? Chip, do you have any questions or comments to Kyle?
No, I'm fine with it. I think it's attractive.
Okay, Diane,
I'm fine.
and Jonathan?
Okay,
Okay, all right, so Esperanza.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve this application as submitted or recently
Submitted.
modified.
Yep.
With the proposed lighting and the circular window and all of the materials specified in the application.
Okay, the only, all right, all right. All right, before we go on to a second, I just want to say this because I just realized it. I just want to make sure. Kyle, the actual architectural renderings, the elevations, the black and white sheets that you've submitted, did you submit a new copy showing the round window and that change?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
And I also put all the light fixtures in those too.
Okay, so we can reference that set of plans, Esperanza. Do you have that marked and dated that you can put into the motion?
I don't have that set of plans. I have the little 11 by 17 only. So I can't reference an actual plan. I only have these renderings. I mean, they can be referenced from whatever it says here, no? Is that what you're referring to?
Right, well, if Kyle, I don't have them, they must be in the office file, and I don't think they gave them to David in his file. So Kyle, the architectural renderings, the elevations with the circular window that you submitted for this meeting, do they have a date on them from your engineering company or from the, any mark of a date that we can reference them or a plan number?
Okay, what I can do is, let's say Monday or Tuesday, I'll drop off a new set of plans, all dated and everything else, a hard copy for you, have something to reference to.
Right. Why don't you drop off 2 copies just so,
Chair, if I may, this plan here has a date on the bottom of
but we can't reference that for the resolution because it's really more of a color rendering. We really need to reference the architectural elevation plans.
That's what's on the screen.
Isn't that what's on the screen?
Yeah, that's what's on the screen.
Okay,
I will drop off new dated plans with all the changes Monday or Tuesday.
all right, that would be great. Okay, so.
So
to-
if
to-
referencing this or not?
Excuse me?
Should I reference this sheet or?
Well,
plan?
if they're going to be the same exact thing, yes, you can. I just thought that we would get a new set of plans that weren't colored, that would be a digital file. I'm sorry, the elevation plans that we normally get submitted that are what are referenced when we make the resolution. But if this is fine, then I'm fine with that.
So what do you want me to do?
Continue.
So I make a motion to approve the application as submitted with the modification of a circular window on the front facade as referenced in plans submitted, plans dated April 6th, 2021. I don't know, sheet number addendum 1.
Right, so this is my point, okay? Because the same plans with the other window are dated the same date, and this was a later submission. So why don't we not reference the plans and we'll just get new plans?
Okay.
I'm sorry that I'm being the stickler on the details on this, but I'm just trying to get it so we're all on the same page. Okay, so we'll just make a motion to approve the plan submitted for this meeting. Okay?
Yep.
All right.
Did I do that?
Yeah. Can
Did we
I,
get a second and vote?
yeah. Can I get a second on that, Chip?
Okay.
All in favor, Jonathan
Aye.
and Diane?
Aye.
Aye, okay. All right, Kyle, you're good to go. Thank you for giving us a new set of plans with an updated date for when they were prepared. And then our office will, stamp them received with their date, and we can reference that also in the resolution.
Okay, I'll date those plans April the 22nd.
Great.
So that, okay?
Yeah, I'm going to make a
All
note
right.
of that.
Okay, okay.
All
Thank
right.
you very
Thanks,
much.
Kyle, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay. Edward and Jacqueline Marcus, this is a modification for tax map number 300-197-8-9, 8 Osborne Farm Lane. Michael, maybe Caitlin is on from Farrell Building Company.
One moment, I believe I see that number here. The last 4 digits are 3240. I'll unmute that now.
Hi, this is Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, how you doing?
We're good. We're gonna clean this up today.
Excellent. Yes, that's the plan.
So Chip, if you can read into the record what we're doing here today.
This application is for eventually a C of O and some alterations. It's been before us several times this year. The remaining item of concern today is the replacement of 10 outdoor sconces and 1 hanging light fixture over the front door with dark sky compliant fixtures. I visited the site. The 10 outdoor sconces on the side of the house have been replaced with dark sky compliant fixtures as submitted in their package. It appears to me the hanging fixture over the front door has not. That fixture over the front door is in an indented entryway, and as long as they would put a 40-watt bulb in it, I have no problem with leaving that fixture in place. Caitlin, do you want to talk about it?
Yes, we would definitely be willing to make that change to the wattage of the bulb if that's necessary.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I mean,
Chip, what we're,
it needs to.
go ahead.
But it needs to light an indented front entryway. I mean, the light there is facing the cul-de-sac. It's not really something you're going to see from the field.
Is it downward, like downlight?
It's a glass cylinder that's clear, and the light bulb does face down, but it also faces out. The light does go down and out a little. That's it.
Right there.
So, but that's not dark sky compliant.
I said that, yes.
Right. So why are we just?
I'm willing to let this one ride because they replaced the other 10. I mean, this is an indented entryway. It'd be nice to have a little light other than a shaft of light over this front door.
Well, it's not, yeah, it's not our.
David? David, can we approve this if the board is willing to, or we can't because it's not dark sky compliant fixture?
You can approve all the other fixtures that are dark sky compliant, and the board can be silent as to that light fixture and its approval. But
Let me ask you this, Caitlin, what kind of bulb is in that? Is that like an LED bulb? What?
I am not sure. I would assume so, yes, LED. But I'd have to.
And Chip, when you're standing in the street or from the you know, by the beginning of the property, can you see this coming down from underneath, or is it hidden by the overhang from the street?
No, I believe you see it.
Well, Caitlin, you know, I'm on the fence with this. I'm hoping that maybe there's something that they can do to alter this so that it can be dark sky compliant.
It would be
Would,
replacing
like,
the fixture.
Yeah, I guess we would just replace the fixture.
Well, let me ask you this, David. We're here to make a modification to the original resolution in order to include the new light fixtures that they put on, and then we're going to move forward to do a C of O. Could we make the motion to the modification for the exterior light fixtures with the exception of the front door chandelier to become dark sky compliant? You know, is this getting too tricky?
no, I think we could do the resolution with the understanding that the light fixture to be installed is dark sky compliant. If that's what I think that's the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
Just to put,
Caitlin, do you think that they would be willing to swap that out for something that's technically dark sky compliant within the same style of it?
Yeah,
I don't think go ahead. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we have an issue with the design style. It's more the technical end of it. Okay.
Well, the new sconces, the dark sky compliant sconces are almost identical to this, except they have sort of mottled glass on the side panels. So they look almost identical.
Okay. All right. So Chip, if you'd make a modification speaking to, you know, the approval of the new light fixtures that the board approved and that they'll all be dark sky compliant.
Okay, on the matter of the light fixtures with this property, we approved the 10 sconces on the exterior that have been already replaced. And we require that the hanging fixture over the front door be replaced with a similar dark sky compliant fixture.
Great. Can I get a second on that, Diane?
Yes, second.
All in favor, Jonathan?
Yes.
And Esperanza?
Aye.
All right, now let's move to the certificate of occupancy. And then what will happen is, Caitlin, when they're ready, oh no, we are doing the C of O. Okay, I was going to say would come out, but we'll just put that in the memo of the C of O. Okay, so I am on page 4, Edward and Jacqueline Marcus, tax map number 300-197-8-98 Osborne Farm Lane, Wainscott, for a certificate of occupancy. Chip?
Based on our earlier discussion about the light fixtures, I find that this property is ready for a C of O and instruct staff to inform the building department of the same.
Okay, all right. All in favor, Diane?
Yes.
All, Esperanza?
Aye.
And Jonathan?
Aye.
Okay, Caitlin, you're good to go
Great.
on the lights. And thank you for having them swap that out. I appreciate that.
Thank you all very much.
All right, have a nice evening. Okay, 104 Main Street LLC, tax map number 300-200-2-24.8, 104 Wainscott Main Street in Wainscott. And Michael, there should be a few people on for this. I can give you names, or you could just let.
Well, Chair, thank you. Yes, I would like some names, actually. I've been given two previously, I believe, Leonard Ackerman and Linda Margolin. Is that right?
Right, and
I
there's
don't
possible.
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I do not see them in Zoom yet by that name. I do have two participants in Zoom who are not named. Simply one is iPhone and another one, actually just one. One of them, another one actually is APBG. I don't know what they pertain to. Perhaps this.
I don't
If
know.
I could just interject for a moment. I know Ackerman's office just called the town attorney's office and indicated that they were possibly having some issues connecting with the Zoom. I could try to get more information about that.
I'm sorry. First of all, David, you're sounding like that Darth Vader thing again. So, but let me ask you this. Do they want us to move along? Are they having technical problems, or they're just having problems coordinating all getting on? Where'd he go?
Looks like David signed off to restart.
Okay.
Yes, it looks like he did. In the meantime, just to say, Chair, there are about 10 people in our waiting queue on the phone line. Well, only two of them I know of. So the other ones would have to go through them one at a time to see if they pertain to this.
Okay, well, I could give you.
If you have a number, the last four digits, I could tell you if I see any in the queue.
I just got zoomed out. Oh, darn.
Still here.
We can see you and hear you.
See you.
You can, but I don't know what to do.
I think you just click again on the little Zoom icon. Should come back up.
There we are. Hello. I can give you names, Michael, if you'd like.
Numbers, you can try
I
a
don't
name,
have,
but
I don't have phone numbers. I'm
the
sorry.
caller ID for the free conference caller sometimes is accurate, but you can go for it.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, I'm sorry. If you want to list
I don't have phone numbers
no
for any of these.
names. Go ahead with a name.
Okay. All right. Kenneth Austin,
No.
Dan Scotty.
Oh, I see Linda coming in right now.
Okay, that's Linda Margolin.
Right.
Dan Scotty,
No.
Ray Renault,
Nope.
Dan Thorpe,
Nope.
and possibly Eric Brown.
No. And again, some of these numbers are just numbers, but I do see Linda. I can bring her in now.
Yes, and she might be able to give us some.
APBG?
She might be able to give us some indication on who's waiting to come in.
Excuse me, Miss Margolin, are you there?
Yes, could you let us in on APBG?
Thank
That's
you.
what everyone, that's
Thank
where
you.
everyone on my team is.
Yes, I'll let that
Thank
into
you.
the Zoom link now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Over it. But yes, I will let them know.
Okay, Chair, APBG is in the Zoom link, and Linda's phone is open. Linda, is there anyone else you're missing?
On my team, everyone is on this particular feed, APBG.
Okay, we can see them.
Okay, go ahead,
David
Chair.
McMaster is waiting to come back in.
Thank you, Kyle. He's coming in now.
I did.
Hi, David.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. It sounds lovely. Okay, so
good.
everybody from the Austin team are on board. And we're ready to start. Esperanza?
Okay. Is this a good time to start, Madam Chair?
No, Esperanza is gonna just introduce the application, and then we can jump in.
Very good, thank you.
This is an application for a new residence within an agricultural overlay district in Wainscott at 104 Wainscott Main Street. It's for a new single-family residence proposed at, originally proposed at 17,346 square feet. and it is a 2-story residence.
Thank you. So who would like to speak from the group?
I'm going to address the board. My name is Linda Morgulin. I'm an attorney here for the owner of 104 Wainscott Main Street. It's in the name of an LLC, but the beneficial owners are the Austins. I wanted to remind the board a little bit because some time has gone by since the last meeting, at which I was not present, but I've been able to look at it and understand what was going on. At that last meeting, some of the board members expressed the view that this project would be better if the second story on what was called the cabana wing was eliminated. And under cover of a letter that I wrote to the board, we submitted drawings showing what the house would look like with only a single story in that location. It's not a formal submission yet modifying.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, what? It's not a formal submission yet to modify our plan, but if that's a condition of approval, the applicant is prepared to eliminate the second story on the cabana wing. The other things that have happened since that time are we've seen a number of letters and emails come in from people expressing different concerns about the project. There is one neighbor who appears to be raising a variety of issues to prevent this board from reaching the merits of our plan, but I'm going to put that aside and say that we understand that there are several other people in the community, as well as members of this board, who have expressed concern about how this house is going to look and how it fits into the overall neighborhood in which it's located. I want to back up for a moment and say that under the town code, which controls the size of the house and its location on the lot, the setbacks and everything else, this house is fully compliant and doesn't require any variances. But we're sensitive to the concerns about how well this house fits in. The architect had previously made selections about the siding, the roof, and so on and so forth to keep it as unobtrusive as possible, to basically use low slung forms to minimize the amount that would be 2 stories. And to try and give you an accurate idea of what this house would look like from the limited points of view where it can be seen, as I hope you are all aware, we put up a 32-foot pole on the site in the location where the most westerly portion of the 2-story portion of the building would be. And then the architect, in order to give this board an idea of what it would look like from someone approaching the area from Wainscott Main Street on the west, traveling east, which we think is the only way from which you can get a significant view of the house from any publicly available view. He then scaled the elevation of the house so that it accurately reflected the height of the pole. And we provided you with that view. We also staked out the location of the house and gave you a plan overlaying the location of the new house on the house that used to be there, so that you could see that the construction basically is pulled back towards the northerly edge of the site and occupies pretty much the area where the old house was. So with that, all of that, I would say that it's our view that except for a small portion of the roof and the chimneys that can be seen driving east from Wainscott Road and from a considerable distance away, this house basically it can't be seen by anyone from a publicly available view. And I've walked the property myself. I imagine that the members of the board have too. The best view of the house, if it was possible to have one, would be the neighbors immediately to the east. But there is so much landscaping in place, both on their lots and on this lot, that it's virtually impossible to see from any of their backyards. We think that you ought to approve this plan. We think that it's entitled to approval, but at this point, I would be happy to answer or have members of my team answer any questions from members of the ARB.
Well, I'll start out. I want to thank you all for joining us today. And the last time that we were in front of your group, or they were in front of us, was on February 25th of this year. So that's 2 months ago. And during that meeting, we discussed how much we were appreciative and in favor, or it was favorable of the percentage of fenestrations that they reduced on the original submit. Because when we first reviewed the original plans, it was the first thing that stood out from us, not only from the actual elevations, from the photographic color renderings that they submitted that showed the house aglow at night with lights on, as well as a lot of other situations that we had discussed with regards to that first meeting. On the February 25th meeting, the board was very, I think, clear that we were also continuing to struggle from the beginning and through to that meeting with the scope of the project, the mass and scale of the building enclosure, and how that would present on an agricultural land close to 18,000 square feet. And basically, we cannot redesign what has been designed, nor are we in a position to, nor is it our charge. So we suggested to the design group to see if there was anything that they could do. Mr. Austin was very firm during that meeting that he did not want to reduce anything, that he wanted his 17 bedrooms, his 23 bathrooms, he wanted his 18,000 square feet, and he felt very entitled to that. We took a vote, which I felt pressured to do under duress with his threats of lawsuits. The board voted on it, and it was 3-2, 3 not in favor of approving these plans. I asked the team again if they would reconsider, and that they were asking us, well, where would you want that to be? And again, I stated that it wasn't our position to do that. But one thing that I felt stuck out that I could bring up, because I thought it was appropriate, was the most southern part of this complex, the last building that appeared to be a pool house with a second story. And they said that they would consider that. We put them back on the agenda for our March 22nd meeting. Plans came in showing the rendering, the photographic color renderings of the second story removed from the pool house, which we were to then understand that were bedrooms up there, that this was their proposal. There was not a letter stating that there was a stipulation that you just mentioned until your letter came to us, Linda. And then you postponed that meeting. We put it back on the agenda for the next meeting, and you postponed that because one of our board members was not able to make that meeting. So basically, we have not been in front of Mr. Austin or the design team for 2 months. My hope was for this meeting that we were going to get something in addition to what was submitted and stamped, received, and dated on March 18th, which was a whole month ago, hoping that you had a lot of time to consider what the board's position was, in addition to reading close to a dozen letters that came in from surrounding people that live in the area, public letters. Normally, what we do during meetings like this, we'll read those letters into the record, but we can't do that today because it would be too time consuming. Some of the letters are very short, some of them are very long, but all of them are not in favor of this project, as you know. So that being said, the second part of this is what you're looking at now on the screen, is what I went over today and took a picture of, which is the stake. I assume that the top of it that's painted red is the actual height of the top of the second story, which I would imagine is 32 feet high, and how it towers over some of the very mature and large trees that are on that property that most likely will be either taken down or removed in order to accommodate this complex, and how large this building is going to be in mass and scale on this small property. Okay, so with that being said, I really feel at this point in time that after visiting the property as many times as I have, as well as the board, we understand it, back and forth and up and down, that I think that this area of Wainscott and this specific property in this specific location, in this specific neighborhood, in this specific agrarian overlay district is very special and very sensitive, not only to the land, but also to the neighboring properties. What is being proposed, I feel, is out of character of mass and scale to the area. It's not harmonious with the surrounding neighborhood and properties, and it goes against the agricultural overlay district plan and codes that direct this board in its decision process. We could get into the codes if you would like. We have our town attorney here that can do that. But I would like to tell you that this is where I feel that we're going to get caught, because we can do this today really quick. Nothing else has been submitted except that one second story, I don't know if it was 200 square feet reduction. Nothing else has been proposed or considered by your team. So I can move to make a motion to take a vote on what the board, how they feel about the presentation that we have that was received on March 18th, dated and stamped. We can also then go around to the board and have them each give their point of view, which is what I just did.
Well, Madam Chair, before we do that, and I would like to hear from other members of the board, let me just say to you that the photograph that you have up on the screen is one that you took standing on the property. And I believe that you are standing in the location of the prior house. And that prior house was, as best we can determine, it was a 3-story house built in 1883. And based on the research that we've done, although I can't tell you for sure exactly how tall it was, it is my belief that houses of that vintage generally had relatively tall stories, somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 feet per story.
Excuse me, Ms. Margolin, we're not talking about what was there. That house was bulldozed down. We're talking about what this project is.
I understand.
So I don't want to spend time talking about what was there versus what this is. We need to talk specifically about this application.
If you are talking about not what the homeowner will see from his own property, but what anyone else will see, what I want to point out, because it is something that I think is not intuitive, you have to experience it, is that if you are any place on Wainscott Main Street trying to look in the direction of this house, the degree to which surrounding plantings screen it from your view, and I'm not talking about things that we intend to put on the site, but things that already exist on the site.
Yes, I would like to make a comment to that. The reason why you don't see anything from Wainscott, Maine facing east is because nothing is there. You were able to see that old house from Wainscott, Maine when it was there existing. And also when you stand on that property and you face to the right, looking west to Wainscott, those trees are permeable. You can see trucks and cars coming down the street. The reason why you can't see anything this way, looking towards it, is because nothing's there. So I would like to talk.
I can tell you, Madam Chair, is I've made a point of driving past the property multiple times because I'm sensitive to what people in the neighborhood are concerned about, even though this is not an historic district. And I think we have to bear that in mind. But I stopped and parked at the intersection of Wainscott and Sayers. I looked back. I could not see this pole at all. I drove towards the property, starting carefully from about.
But Linda, it's a pole. It's a pole. It's not a massive roof. It's not 18,000 square feet of a house.
But you
cannot compare it. So I don't look at. We have been through this we're going on 5 months now. Okay, so I'm going to ask each of the board members to comment on what has been presented to us with regards to the second story being removed, and we're going to then move to take a vote. Esperanza, our vice chair.
Well, all I might say to you is that, I understand your concerns. I understand the concerns of the board. I understand the concerns of the neighbors. But when you look at what the standard is.
Council, if you could allow the vice chair to speak, she was called on, please.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was doing that. Please don't let me do that.
Esperanza.
Thank you. So first I want to say I know we've been through this for a long time, and I have appreciated the extensive amount of work that the design team has poured into the application and the proposals and so forth, so that we can appreciate what is being proposed. I know from my experience, and I think the board, it's for the same, we've grappled with this all this time, taking into consideration that this is within an agricultural overlay district designated by the town. And I believe you all know, this board is charged with maintaining, I'm quoting from the code, this board is charged with maintaining the desirable character of the town, and with disapproving the construction, reconstruction, alteration, or repositioning of buildings or structures which are designed without consideration of the harmonious relation of the new or altered structure to such structures as already exist, and or to the setting and physical environment into which such structures are to be placed, ensuring compliance with existing applicable scenic, agricultural, conservation easements, or purchase of developments rights agreements in, upon, or adjacent to the premises as to which the town, a conservation organization, or a homeowners association is a grantee or a party, and ensuring that any instruments filed upon adjoining properties are not unduly impaired by the proposed improvements, et cetera, et cetera. This is also, we are taking, I speak for myself, but I think this goes for the rest of the board members. We're also taking into consideration that this is an area that is of statewide aesthetic significance. And we are mindful of the charge of the town to maintain the rural character with open space and scenic vistas. And right now, this is very open. It's on nearly 4 acres of open space. The ARB, the proposed residence rather, is approximately between 17 and 18,000 square feet, 2 stories. There are no other similarly sized houses in the surrounding neighborhood. This is easily almost 3 times the size of the average house in this area, if not more. I'd say more because the majority along Main Street are 19th century and early 20th century homes. The proposed residence is inconsistent in mass and scale with the surrounding area within this agricultural overlay district. And I would submit that the proposed residence very extensively, the proposed application very extensively develops this very scenic and significant and currently open, as I said, land. So I have looked at the most recent exhibits, and it's in good conscience, as far as the code is concerned, I cannot, I'm not this is not favorable.
Jonathan?
Could I ask the vice chair a question, please?
Sure.
Certainly.
I will tell you that we really do not understand what it is that would make this house, in your view, comply better with the character of the neighborhood. When you talk about smaller houses, many of those smaller houses are on significantly smaller lots. They were built at a time when the dominant aesthetic was to build as close as possible to the street. That's the way the community developed. But now the aesthetic is quite different. The town zoning code pushes setbacks. No one would build a house as close to the street as many of those houses are. And so when we looked at the different aesthetics that this house was trying to be sympathetic to, the choice was not to choose the 18th and 19th century homes, but to look instead at an agricultural building aesthetic, which I believe under the code and under your charge is an equally acceptable way to find something that blends suitably with the neighborhood character. I also think that the applicant here, based on your remarks, is being essentially punished because the prior owner of the property took down the old house. That's not, it may be that everybody was so used to that view that they preferred it, but there was nothing.
Excuse me, Ms. Margolin, I'm going to say once again.
So we don't know what you want.
Whoever took
I'd like
down
to know if there was a question.
it was the property was bought, the house was raised. Okay, we do not, this is not part of the application. So I'm going to move on to Jonathan.
I'm sorry, I just didn't understand what you said, Madam Chair. Could you repeat it?
You mentioned that the house was raised by the previous owner. I don't know which owner raised the house.
The house was purchased, the existing house, the 1883 house was raised by the people who had owned the property for many years. None of the entities that my client had any control on.
There was, look, again, I'm going to say one more time. What happened prior to this has nothing to do with this application. Whoever raised that house, whether it was the homeowners or the person that originally bought the property from them, I do not know. It is not part of this application. Jonathan.
Hi. Well,
Hi.
I think the architects here have designed a house which has aspects of a mild farmhouse or a working farm, as you call it. But it really is a lot, kind of an octopus plan in the center of a 4-acre lot. I spent some time looking at it, and I drew a rectangle around the house and its courtyards, and right in that rectangle is slightly over an acre, which is 25% of the lot. And I know, I own a house on an acre. It's a nightmare. It's large, and the whole house takes up that acreage. It has 17 bedrooms, 23 bathrooms. The next largest house is the Renard house in Sagaponic. That has 25 bathrooms on 63 acres. Not 4, and it's still a blight on the landscape, even at that large size. The proposed landscaping is highly manicured over the remaining 3 acres. This is all contrary to the nature of Wainscott, which has the aspect of a wild rather than a manicured landscape. Wainscott is an outstanding New York coastal landscape scenic area as defined by the state of New York State Department of State. And the town's purpose in applying the agriculture overlay on the code in this part of the town is to protect and maintain this most pristine sense of place in the Wainscott Main Street district and the view corridor over the pond to the ocean. That sense of place, this sense of place, which is shared by all, has disappeared in much of the town. The town board, in applying the agricultural overlay to this district, meant to keep Wainscott as open as it is. The 17,000 square foot house with 17 bedrooms is way too large.
All right, Diane.
Well, I agree with my colleagues on the board. And I do want to say that this is, despite the code, despite the size of the house, it is a very fragile piece of land. When I was there this week observing, it was teeming with wildlife. And the very construction of this massive house is going to upset the balance, the natural balance of this very, very sensitive pond's edge. And I feel it's totally inappropriate.
Thank you. And Chip, please.
Well, in listening to this conversation, particularly the most recent applicant remarks, I think the applicant fails to understand that this property and this project is not contextual. It doesn't fit into the Wainscott community. It doesn't look like anything in Wainscott, and it doesn't respect the fact that Wainscott is a very special place. The scale and the mass of the proposed structures are not harmonious with the character of this part of East Hampton. And for that reason, I vote no.
So
I don't think you voted yet, Chip.
he didn't vote yet, but he's saying that he's not in favor of it. Thank you, Chip. So what we can do at this point, even though I'm sure you understand what the outcome is going to be, but just to make it, on the record, we could make a motion to vote on this application as presented based on the photorealistic color rendering stamped and received dated March 18, 2021. So I'd like to do that now. David?
Madam Chair, there are a couple of things that we'd like to correct, and I believe that that Mr. Austin is waiting to be let in. I think he wants to make some remarks, but before he does so, I'd like to say that there were some remarks made about the landscaping. Perhaps they were addressed to the original landscape plan, but after the board made comments about the landscaping, LaGuardia did a very substantial revision to the landscape plan. And it is
Noted.
So I would like to make that point. I am hearing from the board members that nothing other than a reduction in size of this house would satisfy the board that it could approve this house. And I want to make sure that I understand that correctly. Some of your board members have said it's by mass and scale, they feel it's out of character with the neighborhood. Mr. Foster said that he thought it was too spread out, that the house occupied, with the house occupying, including its courtyards, 25% of the site, which is approximately 4-acre site, that was too much space for it to occupy. And you yourself, Madam Chair, have indicated that standing on the property and looking at the 32-foot high indication of how high the house will be, it's too dominating on the site itself. So I want to understand if that's the point of view of the board, so that if we want to take this opportunity to ask you to adjourn this and consider whether we want to do anything further, whether we are moving in the right direction, because this is not what we understood from the last meeting that we attended. The last meeting that we attended, and perhaps our understanding was flawed, we thought that the board was, while they might not have loved the house, they were prepared to accept it if we could reduce the mass of the most southerly portion. Which
Linda, that was in your letter. That is inaccurate, and I don't want to waste time going into that. We did not say that. I just made that as one suggestion in an overall board review, that we were concerned about the mass and scale of the size of this home on this property. I'm not going to keep going on and on. We've been at it now for a half an hour. We can, if you would like to adjourn this, that is your choice. We're happy to do that, or we can move forward with a vote.
Well, I would like to adjourn.
Can we hear from you?
Meeting adjourned.
Will you be able to let Mr. Austin in to speak before we adjourn it?
Well, why don't you have a conversation with him off the record before he comes in to see if he's willing
He's
to.
already dialed in. If we could just let him in, we'd really appreciate it.
Okay.
I would suggest that we give him 5 minutes. We could set a timer and go that way.
Perfect.
And wait, before we do that, I'd like to say, yes, Linda, what you just what you just said back to us, you are correct in your understanding.
Okay.
Chair, this is Mike at LTV. I do see the caller. With your permission, I'll bring that caller in.
Please, thank you, Michael.
You're welcome. The caller's last four digits are 7478. I'll unmute that now.
All right. Please, thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
And excuse me, caller, if you could please mute the audio of the broadcast in your room, wherever you are. Just simply speak through the phone.
I did.
Thank you. You're on.
Sure. Hello, members of the board. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome, Kenneth.
Thank you. So I just wanted to just touch on a few things. I understand I'm on a timer of 5 minutes that was imposed. And I wanted to just say a few things. First of all, we have nothing but respect for the community and for the board, and we have made some significant efforts, but for continuing to make the house smaller. I just did want to say for the record, the house is now about 16,000 square feet. It is not 18,000 square feet. The house never had 23 bathrooms. And the reason why, and I'm not a lawyer, and you know me from the last call, you remember me, I was quite passionate and upset. But we did, as a group, decide to adjourn at that point. And the reason why so much time has passed is because I think everyone's aware that we had a boundary line dispute. We still do, with one of my neighbors who refused to sign the boundary line agreement with the Mosses and refused to sign a boundary line agreement with the owner after the Mosses, and has refused to sign a boundary line agreement with us. We have tried very hard, dropped a lawsuit against the neighbor who continues to send letters in to the board with items in it that I frankly and my wife and others can't even understand in terms of the environmental issues that these people are claiming that we're going to destroy the environment, which is not our intention.
Excuse me, Mr. Austin, your lawsuits with your neighbors has nothing to do with the ARB board. And I would like
I understand.
I would like for you to clarify one thing, please. In your application that was dated November 18th, 2020, you listed the total square footage of the house, 17,346 square feet. We don't make these numbers.
And now that we've reduced the second story, so now it's roughly 16,000. Maybe Ray would know, but it's a little.
That second story.
It's 16,033.
16,000. So it's roughly 16,000 square feet now. So we've reduced it because we did hear on the last meeting.
Excuse me. I want to be clear. That second story was 1,300 square feet. That's like half of the house.
A normal house.
Yes, that's correct.
Well, it's half of. It's not half of a. I don't know what a normal house would be. I know that Mr. Blau's property across the way, his first story is 11,000 square feet. Just the first story of the home directly across the pond, one story.
This is a pool house with the second story on it. So you're saying by removing that second story, you reduce this by 1,300 square feet.
It was not.
Madam Chair,
it was not a pool house. It was for some reason identified as the cabana portion of the house, but it is a connected part of the house and was part of the square footage that was counted when the application was submitted. And when we eliminated one floor of it, we eliminated 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
Right. Well, we reduced. So if I can speak, because my lawyer is an architect and so on, I appreciate if I can speak because I probably have about 2 minutes left. And it's clear. So the bottom line is we did reduce roughly 1,200 square feet. We've spent a lot of time at the site. We have, from every angle. I was there yesterday taking pictures again. Now that it's all been staked out per your request, we put up the post per your request. And we're really trying. And
Mr. Austin, that was something that was offered to us by Eric Brown to have it staked.
That's correct, Madam Chair.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Very good. So I apologize. Again, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not trying to be a lawyer here. What I'm saying is we've reduced the size of the home. We've redone the landscaping. We've worked on the dark sky. We brought in your consultant, and our lighting was then compliant, or more than compliant per the expert. And we're really trying. I mean, my question is this: is that, and also the board has all commented throughout some of the meetings, which we've watched them all, that the exterior, the finishing, and so on was actually quite beautiful, which we feel it is. It is barn-like. So my question is, what I really want to try to get to, and the reason why I brought up the lawsuit was because we were told that it was in our best interest to sign the boundary line agreement from the same person who's asking you to deny us, at the same time, and gathering the neighbors around and feeling like I'm being extorted.
Mr. Austin, please, I'm going to say it again. What goes on with your lawsuits with neighbors has nothing to do with this board. We receive, public letters all the time with regards to different properties, be them commercial, be them historic, be them agricultural lands. We read everything into the record. We're not reading them in because we receive so many. Your neighbor is one of 10 of your neighbors, okay? So I think that what we're doing is we're rehashing. I think the board was very clear at our last meeting towards the end what our concerns were. You've reduced one section with one story. You've reduced the fenestration, and we appreciate all the work. I think if you can, understand what your lawyer had asked us, if she was understanding us correctly, and we agreed that yes, she is understanding us correctly. If you want to adjourn this, we can adjourn this, or I'm going to move to take a vote. I am not going to rehash.
I have one more question. I have one more question. I have one more question.
But I have a group of 15 people waiting to come into this meeting. I can't let this go on. It's not worth your time, and we just can't allow it. So what's your one last question?
I have a question, but I think respectfully, we were not given a chance to present anything. We started this portion with you not allowing us, my team, to speak, so we didn't have any time. But what I would ask you is this, all of you: what can we do? What can we do? We're in the dark.
No, you're
what
not.
Can I reduce? What can my?
I would recommend, first of all, I would like to clear something up again, Mr. Austin. Your lawyer, Linda Margolin, had ample time to speak to us before we went into any of this with the board's comments. So that's untrue what you said, okay? And I would suggest to you to confer with her about what was discussed during this meeting. And she will be able to give you all that information, okay? I'm going to adjourn this.
I watched the entire meeting. My wife and I were sitting here watching it live.
Okay, good. So then you understand what everyone had to say. I don't think we were speaking, in a different language. So if you would like to,
you were saying the home is not 18,000 square feet.
We can adjourn the meeting, or we can take a vote on whether this application is going forward or not.
Betsy, we'd like to adjourn, please. Thank you.
Our next meeting is in May. It's May 13th. 2021. It's 3 weeks from now because the way the calendar falls, and we're in the second and the fourth Thursday of every month. We would highly recommend, the board is overloaded with applications, that you submit your new proposals as soon as possible, because if we get an X amount of applications, we're cutting off the agenda before our normal Thursday the week before the meeting at 12 noon. Okay, this is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your coming on board and helping us move this forward with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Business signs, Kim Pappas, tax map number 300-50-2-24.1, 126 South Emerson Avenue in Montauk. And Michael, I'm looking for Kim Pappas, possibly. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Will of Ocean Graphics is representing the applicant.
Yes, Chair. I believe I have an Ocean Graphics audio participant in Zoom, which I will unmute now.
Great.
I'll welcome into the Zoom meeting. We can just double check that that's them. It's going to be just audio.
Okay, that's fine. He usually is. And Kyle, there's some color renderings that they submitted. I'm looking for specifically one where it shows the sign up on the posts with some light fixtures.
So excuse me, there's a person within the Zoom meeting. The last 4 digits are 1220. They're available. Are you is somebody there? Just double check, Brittany. The last 4 digits are 1220. That's Ocean Graphics 329.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yes, so they're in our Zoom call, and I've just asked them to speak. They're welcome to speak at any time. They're open.
He might be afraid.
There was a Will McClear previously in the waiting room he has left the waiting room. That person's not back yet, but I don't have anybody else.
So you know what we'll do? We'll move forward with changes to commercial, and when Will pops in, if you could just tell him to hold on, and you'll let us know, and then we'll jump back in there. Okay?
Actually, just 1 second,
Hi, this
Chair.
is Will.
Will? Oh, there he is. Great. Excellent.
Yep.
Hi, Will.
Sorry,
How
I'm on the other line with Sag Harbor ARB as well.
There's another photograph, Kyle, with some light fixtures above it. It might be the next one. No. Those, not those. Those were 2 that I took. It has the sign. Is it maybe in the file with the one that you just showed? There was
only one file attached to that, so that's all that's in the file.
Oh, that really? I need it. You sure? Because I would imagine that Will would have included that in his.
Yep, that's all that's here, Chair.
Okay. Hi, Will.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Okay. So let me read into the record what this is for. And if you can go back to that photo, right? Thanks, Kyle. We'll just hold on to there for a minute. This is an application for a new sign to go on an existing post structure, which is going to be in front of a restaurant, indoor, possibly bar. It's been part of the Royal Atlantic motel, condominiums or hotel since ever. The structure on top of this, I guess, was originally supposed to be a flower box. And it is for a double-sided sign. Each side is 15 square feet for a total of 30 square feet. And they're proposing 2 sets of double gooseneck lighted arms to go up over it. And the code allows up to 10 feet of posts. This has obviously been there for quite some time, and I climbed up on that platform and measured. It's about 10 foot 4 inches. And if Kyle, if you can go over to my pictures that show it without the signage, I want the board to just get a look at this. And understand that the Royal Atlantic has leased this restaurant and bar out to Kim Pappas, I believe, and the name of her new place is going to be called Sandbar. So those top edges of the post are about 6 inches high. My question to you, Will, is where this is going to be positioned is on that top section where some of that paint is removed, and based on your color rendering with the sign, I don't see the top post showing. So it looks like it's going to cover that top post, correct?
Yeah, it was going to be plumb with the top, and if
Right.
I already had the discussion, if we have to trim a little bit off the top, he's fine with that to bring it down a little.
Well, the only concern I have before we get into the sign part is once you then put those 4 gooseneck lights up, that's going to end up being higher than the 10 feet. I think
Right.
4 of those is excessive. I think it's going to be too much light. I'm sure there's light, street lamps and everything else, and the resort right next to it is all lit up. So I would like to, after we talk about the sign, to maybe revisit the lights and see if there's another creative way of lighting that sign, okay?
Sure.
Okay, so let's look at the actual sign. Is there a rendering of the sign by itself, or is it just, that one there? Okay, so what this is a clear sign, a cedar sign panel and herringbone pattern with 1/2 inch raised letters, which obviously are white, with a seagull. I think it's really charming. Does anybody have any issues or problems with this sign?
Charming.
Charming, thank you. The other thing that I want to point out is that it is 72 inches wide, and the actual width from the end of the post to the other end of the post is only like less than 5 feet. So I'm wondering if there's a way, because it seems pretty excessive, that if we could bring that in line with the edges of the width of the post instead of having them come out over past it. I have no problem with the height of the sign. It's just, I think the coming out over such a big structure is only going to make that sign look all that much more excessive, especially when it's up so tall. What do you think, Will?
I mean, part of the reason why it's wide is just because of the format of the logo, and we were trying to keep it within the size of the flower bed, that raised bed, so it's within the size of that. So, you know, we didn't want it to stick out so a truck would clip it or anything. We're just trying to, because if we make it smaller, the logo then has to be smaller in scale. So we're just trying to get as much visibility.
Well, I understand that it doesn't exceed the box. Then my other thing is since you're at 30 square feet and the maximum allowance on signage is 32, you have 2 areas underneath that. Is the property owner and or the restaurant owner planning on any other signage underneath it?
No, I think we were just reserving that 2 square feet just in case down the road they did want to add something, but at this point there's nothing planned.
Okay. So I'll tell you what I think would be a good idea. If the property owner doesn't have a problem with it, is to cut those 2 top parts of the post so that it's flush with the frame. That will bring it down just 2 inches or so under 10 feet. That gives, you know, a nice clean under the maximum, and drop that down so that it fits within that top of the frame. And what can we do about lighting instead of having like those tall goosenecks? Because I don't think we can approve anything that goes over 10 feet.
Well, I mean, we could bring the sign down another foot so that gooseneck is within the 10 feet.
Well, if you brought the sign down, then you could also have the gooseneck attached to that top part of the frame, correct?
Right, that was the plan. And we were going to recess that down a little bit, so it's not going to stand up too high. I think I had the measurements in there, and I think they were no more than about 11 to 12 inches up. So,
are those, you know, fairly large goosenecks, or do they come in a smaller size?
No, they were just 10-inch. They were the smaller size ones.
They're the smallest that they come in?
Yep.
All right. Let me ask you this. Would it be possible, if you're in agreement, to table this, have you redo the drawings where the sign is going to be based on cutting the 2 tops down and placing it, and then putting these 10-inch goosenecks, but only 1 on each side, and then represent that to us?
Yeah, I mean, do we have to table it, or can we just write it in that that's what we're agreeing upon, or, you know, I mean, that's up to...
Let me ask the board how they feel about it. Esperanza, do you have any questions or problems with this?
Just to understand, so the height would be reduced, so just be under 10 feet.
Right.
Everything else is as proposed, and then you're just asking to reduce the number of lights to 2, so 1 on each side, and that's it?
Right, and drop the sign down so that the goosenecks don't go over the 10 feet.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that sounds like a reasonable request. And
okay. Diane?
Yeah, I think it fits in with the scenario.
Right. Jonathan?
So I just want to ask about the lowering of the sign will that go below the top horizontal, and then the lights could screw right into that horizontal structural piece?
Right,
Is
that's
that
what
the
I think
idea?
he's planning, right, Will?
Well, no, the lights actually get mounted in between the two sign faces and come up and over the top. So you won't even see the boxes or anything.
Right. But will we
So
see?
we can sync that down.
Right, and will we see the top frame, or will that?
No,
be-
you won't. All of that's going to be hidden within the two sign faces. It'll be nice and
Good
clean.
question, Jonathan?
Yeah, well, that's one. And then will those lights, they seem like they're very close to the sign and they'll make a hot spot. Will that light actually light up the sign well?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done them before on several other signs.
Yeah,
There's
the
set
blue
on
text are pretty
Briny
much
Breezes.
standard over signs, Jonathan.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, the dimensions look like it was tight, so.
Yeah, they stand off the face a decent amount, and they're 180-degree light bulbs in there, so the light spread is pretty good.
Okay, good. All right. LEDs?
Yep, LED.
And is it going to be like 2700?
Yep.
Okay, put the 2700 LED in your resolution.
It's actually on the application.
Okay.
Chip, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm fine with the proposed changes. I'm sure the applicant wants to get this sign up for the season to start. So if we can accommodate them in any way, I'm fine with that.
Let's move it along. Okay. All right. So I'm going to make a motion to approve the application as presented with the following changes. That the top section of the 6-inch sections on the left and right posts are going to be cut flush with the top frame of the structure. The sign will not exceed over 10 feet. There'll be one set of double gooseneck white lights over that will be 27 Kelvin LED bulbs, and the sign is as presented. Can I get a second on that, Chip?
Second.
All in favor, Diane?
Aye.
And Esperanza?
Aye.
And Jonathan?
Aye.
Aye, good. Thank you, Will. Good to go.
Thanks so much.
Okay, be well.
Have a good one.
Changes to commercial Wayne-Scott Farms, tax map number 300-192-3-5.13, Industrial Road, Wayne-Scott. Esperanza. Are we waiting for anybody, Esperanza, you think?
Oh, probably if we are, it would be John Robertson. Maybe he will be calling in.
I do believe I have that caller. I can let that caller in if you'd like.
Thank you.
I believe so. The number is, the last four digits are 9280. I'll unmute that now.
No, it's not 80.
I'm sorry.
Hi.
Who is
Hi.
Hello.
Who's this?
Oh, hi, guys. Oh, this is Jane Lappin and John Robertson.
Oh, good, good.
Hi,
Okay.
everybody.
Hi, Jane.
Hello.
John. All right, Esperanza, if you'll read into the record what this is for, please.
That was very cheerful. Thank you.
Yeah, that was good.
This is an application for adding an extension to an existing office. Siding and exterior will match existing. And this applicant was before us, or actually, well, no, they were going to be before us. But when I visited the site, I realized that there were no elevations to specify what was being proposed. They had not been submitted. So we now have those. And I think it's a pretty straightforward application. Why is everybody laughing?
I just text David about it.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with anything.
Okay. I see. Adding. So I was
Is
just
there
trying
anything
get
to look at with Kyle? Can we?
Yeah, if I could get Kyle to pull this up. Just to be clear, this is Industrial Road. It's at the corner of Airport Road. It is this particular structure is tucked in the rear. As you enter this property, it's in the back of the property, close to the railroad tracks that run through that part of East Hampton. And so this is right near the airport, in other words, also. And so they're just proposing this small addition. I'm just trying to find the size of it. And I'm sorry.
We're on the bottom elevation, where's the addition? To the right?
Yes, right? Is that, hold on. Help us out here, Jane and John.
Oh, yes,
because
that's correct. Yes,
disoriented. I keep getting disoriented on this.
So when you're facing the building, it's to the right, the new addition.
Yes. When you're facing
actually,
the actual building.
Facing the building,
Yes, to the right.
it's
To the right.
It's directly behind the office.
To the right.
Oh,
Oh, I
sorry,
see.
to the right. Oh,
Yeah, it's to the right.
Yeah.
As you're looking into the property, it's to the right. So yes.
Esperanza, do you have a picture of what it is now so we can just get an idea of what
Yes.
the building looks like?
So this is from almost near the road, and then this is the area where the proposed addition would go.
Which is to the right, where that fencing is.
No, it would be to the left.
No, it'd be on the left-hand side corner.
So the longer side
left side.
there.
I see. So that section stays, which looks like a little trailer where the air conditioning unit is. It's going to be to the
Correct.
left of that.
No, it's right there.
In front of it.
In front of it.
Yes,
Front of it. Okay.
that's the area right there.
So you're enlarging that out.
Yes,
Yes, okay.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So there are more pictures, I think, there you go. So it would be that little, as you call it, little trailer sort of area to the right of that,
Right.
where the Dodge is, that's where the addition would be.
And how many square feet is it?
That's what I'm looking for, forgive me.
It's,
Can you guys
16, it's 16 by 16.
Yeah, it's a 16 by 16, it's square, 16 by 15.
It's 16 by 16. It's 256 square feet.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, I don't really have any comments or anything against this proposal. It's just a very modest addition. Everything would be pretty much like what is there already. And it would just spiff it up a little bit because you're repainting the entire building once you add this on, right?
Correct. Yeah, we're really putting on the addition just.
John, this might need site plan in addition to the ARB, just because it's in a commercial industrial zone. So you should check with the building department as well, or sorry, the planning department.
Okay, so I actually went through the building department originally.
No,
and
so
they
the
were the
planning
ones that
department.
sent me to it.
So I
Oh,
misspoke.
okay.
You should check with the planning department because I'm receiving information that you would be required to update your site plan in addition to this, but that's certainly not going to stop us from what we're doing here. I just wanted to make that clear.
okay.
You know, before.
Okay, yeah.
So let me ask this, you're repainting the entire building white and in addition to the new addition?
Correct. The existing and the addition will be matching, all repainted white and black trim.
No, dark gray.
Dark gray trim.
Oh, great. So we should put that Esperanza in the resolution.
Yes, I have the exterior specifications. They're on the plans that were submitted too.
Great. Okay. So does anybody have any questions for Esperanza or for John or Jane?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Do I need to be as specific as, how many windows, new windows, and that?
No, you can just reference the
refer to
plans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Make a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. John, get the dogs out. John.
So I'm good. No other comments?
Right.
Okay. I make a motion to approve this application as submitted, and refer to the drawings submitted and dated, let's see, April 13, 2021. I think that's the latest date, although the drawings have other dates. I'm sorry. Okay, April 13, 2021 is the date I can see. The exterior, to be specific, the exterior will be painted Benjamin Moore distant gray.
I think that's the windows.
Does siding with the trim at a Benjamin Moore semi-gloss whale gray. So is it not white? I'm sorry. Or is distant gray white?
For the trim?
So the trim is gray, the building is white. The siding is all white.
All white.
Okay, so it says here exterior siding, Benjamin Moore, distant gray.
Oh, we meant to say
We meant to say just the trim of the windows is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's all white except for the
Everything
trim.
is white.
Okay.
Darn it.
Well, which gray is it? Is it the whale gray or the distant gray?
Whale gray.
Whale gray.
Okay. So all of the building will be painted white and the trim will be in Benjamin Moore semi-gloss whale gray.
And that it's 16 by 16 by.
Oh, it's a 16 by 16 or 256 square foot addition to an existing structure. Sorry, that was a very convoluted.
Can I get a second on that, Chip?
Second.
All in favor, Diane?
Aye.
And Jonathan?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Okay, John and Jane, you're good to go. But
Oh,
again,
God, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
But I did want to tell a funny, Betsy, can I just say one thing? Do you know where the original building that we've been adding extensions onto is the old Montauk Chamber of Commerce?
No.
And
No
it
way.
was donated to ARF and got lost.
That building. That's
Watch out,
It was
we're
the
gonna
original
landmark
Montauk
it.
Chamber of Commerce right downtown. And then they were taking it to the ARF. They donated it to ARF, but the guy got lost. So I had bought the farm, and I came, and there was the building sitting in the middle of the driveway. It was something out of like Wizard of Oz.
That's great. All right. Well, you're going to have to
Well, I
invite us.
just thought it was a funny story, you know, because it has such history.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. Thanks for sharing that with us. And I just said you should
You're
invite us to your ribbon cutting ceremony.
And I still have the sign that says we do not quote hotel prices.
Good. Keep that. Keep that. That's great. That's great.
Oh, I will, of course. Thank you very, very much.
All right. Good luck with it.
Thank you. Thank you, Planning Board. Architecture Review. Thank you.
Speak great, but that's what I wanted to say. Just remember what David said, that you might need site plan approval on that, you know, even though you have ARB approval for the aesthetic and whatnot. Okay.
Yeah, we'll follow up tomorrow. Thank you.
Great. All right. Good. All right. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, you know what? Just Brittany, if you can write down that it's the proposed addition is on the west side of the existing structure. That way we have that. And I actually have here, it says 16 and a half by 17.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. So it's a little bit more than 256.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it says here, but this is the survey.
Well, you'll just have to make sure you go out and measure that when it's built. Then it's 16 and a half and not 16. Okay, comments to planning. New Singular Wireless LLPCS LLC, tax map number 300-49-3-46, 55 Euclid Avenue in Montauk. And I don't know, Michael, if there's anybody on the line, but I would like to ask Kyle to pull up my 2 pictures of the tower in Montauk, please.
Chair, if I may just take a moment, there are plenty of people in the waiting room for this. I'm just going to admit them.
There's somebody here, the agent on the application is Victoria Brennan. Last digits are 2398. I don't know if she's with us or somebody else.
I don't see that, but I can tell you the names. I have a Matthew Fitzgerald, a Matthew Lindbaum.
Matthew Fitzgerald.
Matthew Fitzgerald is in the meeting. I also have an Eric Gentile, and I have a Greg Leahy, and an Ekata Shah. Are those all?
Hello, everyone. Matt Fitzgerald here is on behalf of the applicant. I'm an attorney for AT&T.
Hi, Matthew. Do you know if anybody else is joining us for this application?
It sounds like we've got the team on the line. I'll be presenting. If I've got any specific questions, I'll bounce to the rest of the team, but I suspect it'll just be me today.
And Kyle, is it possible to double screen this with the 2 photos side by side? Can you do that or no? There's like a left and a right of the building. It's not important if you can't.
Just one more question, Chair, if I may. I haven't let those individuals in. Should I?
If Matthew can tell you what their numbers are and you know who they are, sure.
No, they're through Zoom. Those names I mentioned
Matt
before.
Lindbaum is the next application.
Okay.
You can leave Matt Lindbaum off for now. He'll be joining on the next one. Otherwise, the names you listed, you can let in for now.
Okay, great.
Everybody else I'll let in. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, I'm going to read into the record what this is for. This is an application. Even though they have an application, David, it's comments to planning. We're okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. AT&T proposes to replace 9 existing antennas with 9 new antennas on the existing mounts. 6 RRHS, I don't know what that means, are proposed to be replaced with 6 new RRHS. So this is the Montauk Manor. And if you can see up on the tower on either side of the building, not the front facing Euclid, there are canisters which house the equipment for wire singular, and my understanding is that nothing new is being added, they're just being swapped out. Is that correct, Matthew?
The only thing I'd say is all the antennas are just being swapped out for new antennas. We're adding 3 new RRHs, and all those are, if you look really closely on the photo on the left, you'll see the very small boxes next to the long, taller antennas. So we're just adding 3 of those total to the site. Otherwise, it's just basic equipment swaps.
Okay, and they'll be the same color as the tower?
Absolutely. The drawings reflect that we're proposing to paint all of the equipment to match the tower as we have in the past.
Okay, great. Okay, does anybody have any questions for Matthew before I move forward?
Can they be aligned up and be in order? You know what I mean? Like the one on the left, there's 3 different heights.
I believe that are you referring to the antennas or to the smaller boxes?
Well, the antennas are not, they're not all the same height, and the 2 boxes are different size too. So, but I mean, if the boxes are set up with one side always being the same, so that they're coincident or level with each other, and the towers, the antennas would be level with each other, that would be better than what's here.
Yeah, and as I checked the site plan, so I think one of the reasons that the antennas appear uneven is because currently there's different models up there, so they're different sizes. What we're proposing from the drawings I'm looking at, the construction drawings, is that all of the antennas will be level with each other. The RRHs will be level except to the extent that they're of different sizes, so there's nothing we can really do about that. But the antennas will all be level. So what you're looking at there on the left will be evened out.
Right.
Okay, great.
Right, because if you look, Jonathan, the smaller one, the lower one is a smaller antenna canister. Okay, so I'm going to make a motion. Well, I'm not. We're going to make comments to planning. My comments to planning is that asking the board, no one had any unfavorable things to say with regards to the new canisters, the new antennas and the new RRHs being swapped out. Is everyone in agreement?
Yes.
Great, okay. The next one is for New Singular Wireless, PCS LLC, tax map number 300-16-2-13. This is up on 56 Flamingo Avenue in Montauk, heading either east or west on Flamingo. You see the white water tower, which has been there forever. And they are doing basically the same on this tower that they're doing on the tower building. AT&T proposes to swap out 6 existing antennas with 6 new antennas. On existing mounts, swap 6 RRH units with 6 new RRH units on the existing mounts, and add 3 new RRH units with associated equipment, lines, cables, as depicted on the plan submitted herewith. I don't have any questions or problems. Does anybody else have any questions or issues with this proposal?
No.
No? Okay. So my comments to, excuse me for 1 second. My comments to planning is that this has been favorably received by the board. Okay. That's it. We didn't ask Matt to jump in, but we didn't have any questions. So Matt, you'll thank everyone for us?
Absolutely. Thank you all very much. I appreciate your time and attention.
You're welcome. Have a nice evening. Good luck. Fences, walls, berms, and gates. Patricia Scott, tax map number 300-39-1608, 997 Springs Fireplace Road, East Hampton. I think Patricia will be on the line, but in the meantime, Chip, if you'll read into the record what this is for.
Sure. This application has been before us several times this year. The remaining items. It is for 2 sets of driveway gates on a semicircular drive at the far rural end of Springs Fireplace Road. Having indicated we would not approve 6-foot-high gates and the already installed 6-foot-high post, the applicant was asked to reimagine this application with lower, more transparent gates and lower posts. The gates and posts would be set into the property 27 feet from the road. Her new proposal is for 5-foot gates and posts stained black, with the gates 1x6 cedar planks spaced 1 inch apart. We had asked her for a different configuration on the planking. There is no specific drawing of the proposed new gates, just a photograph of a neighboring pair of gates that I was unable to find. This stretch of Springs Fireplace Road is rural open land with minimal fencing and almost no driveway gates anywhere. Now, the proposed gates are nearly solid. They are ominous looking, stained black. I don't find them in keeping with the neighborhood at all, and I would recommend that we ask the applicant to rethink this application. Property also has several sections of a solid white 6-foot tall fence in the front yard that we've asked to have removed. It is still there. Patricia?
She suggested she was going to move it, remove it.
Excuse me, Chair. There's one potential number that could be, Patricia, I don't have a name associated with it. We can just open it up and try, unless you can give me.
Well, let me just ask Chip, is her phone number on the application, if you can read the last 4 digits?
Sure. Uh, 5012 or 0407.
Yes, I have 0407. I'll unmute that now.
Thank you.
Kyle, could you bring up the photos?
Caller, you should be there. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Patricia.
Hi, how you doing?
We're good. How are you today?
Hello?
This is one of the semicircular as it approaches the road, looking out towards Spring Fireplace. The posts have been added, and they're right where this fence stops.
It's going in and out. What's happening? It's going in and out. No, hurry up. They're talking to me.
Excuse me, Michael, can you instruct Patricia on what to do so we can understand what she's saying?
Yeah, excuse me, everybody. So I just had to mute her for a moment so I could hear that. I'm going to unmute her now and just make sure that, Patricia, if you have any audio feed broadcasting in your room of this meeting, please mute it completely and simply just talk through the telephone. There could have been feedback. I'm going to reopen your mic now.
Hello?
Hello, Patricia, you're there.
Yes?
So Patricia, this is Chip. I just stated what your application is for this meeting.
Yes, I heard bits and pieces. It went in and out, but...
Chip, do you have a photograph with the posts that are already there?
There. No, there they are, yes.
Okay. And do you want to show the type of gate that she's looking to put there?
That was her photograph here. Kyle, is there a planky gate?
Can't hear me, sorry. Yes, it's right here.
You're right there, right.
At 5 feet?
Mm-hmm.
It's at 5 feet. So Patricia, I went through your neighborhood pretty carefully. I never found this gate. It doesn't really matter, but I was struck by the fact that there's hardly any gates on Spring Fireplace Road.
Okay, in my initial file, I did submit pictures of 20 plus gates within my neighborhood within a quarter-mile radius. Actually, less
Well,
than
they certainly are not on Springs Fireplace Road, because I drove up and down Springs Fireplace Road. They must be on the side streets, but they're not on the road you're on.
Well,
the gate I'd like.
Excuse me for 1 minute, Patricia. Chip, let's do this. She's asked that the board approve 5 feet high, right, with
Yes.
this type of gate, painted black, and there's 2 of them.
Yes.
Okay. So what is your position on what she's asking the board to approve?
I find that the gates are too opaque. I find that you cannot see through them. It's not in keeping with the character of the neighborhood, particularly the blackness of them. And so I would not approve these 5-foot gates as per this photograph.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Chip or Patricia? Okay. So Patricia, I'm in agreement with Chip. I was glad to see that you were willing to reduce them to 5 feet. You know, the posts are very simple. I actually like the style of this gate, but I'm in agreement with Chip. You know, it's not only one that looks like almost a solid wall across one of your driveways, it's 2. So if you would be willing to open them up, like by removing some of the panels and getting more space in between, I think, we can poll the board and see how they feel. But that is, again, that's up to you where you're coming from. But
oh, sure. No problem at all. So I've gone from 6 feet down to 5 feet. I'm fine with that. Chip, you were inaccurate in coming onto the property. We did cut back the white fence down to 4 feet. That was done, as I said, the very next day, the interior fencing. So that was rectified. I'm prepared to do 5 feet, the posts, no problem at all. And yeah, sure, no problem opening them up. Whatever it is you want, just let me know. I just want to get some gates up there.
Yeah. What's the width of those boards? 3 inches?
6 inches.
No, the original application was 3, but you didn't like those either, so I changed it out to copy my neighbor's, which is a 1x6 board.
Those are 6-inch
and
boards.
He's 6 houses along from me, so he is definitely on Springs Fireplace Road. And I did submit a picture with the address, so I'm surprised you didn't notice them. But
And
I was copying that design.
What's the width of the opening in between the 6-inch boards?
1 inch.
Well, on my neighbors, it's 1 inch. I got out and measured them, but if you want it wider, I'm good with that too, you know.
Yeah, make it.
If you
How about
prefer
2
to see it
inches?
wider, that's fine.
Yeah, Jonathan,
fine,
I
no
would
problem at all.
say like 3 or 4 inches. What are you thinking?
Jonathan, you're muted.
Pardon me. What are the planks? What's the plank size right now?
1 by 6.
1 by 6.
Mhm.
That's a 5.5, right?
Yes.
So why not
Right.
make, say, 2.5 inch space in between each one, and then there's a little rhythm going on, something like that.
What do you think, Chip?
Sure.
Yeah, I think 2.5 would be great. And at 5 feet, it would open it up dramatically.
What do you think, Patricia? You want to nail this down?
Oh, it sounds good to me.
Oh, good.
All right, thank you so much.
Wait, hold on. Esperanza?
Oh, I know you're really struggling with getting these up, Patricia. I just don't understand the need for these gates, frankly, even at 5 feet. I'm sorry.
No.
Diane?
Well, I think Patricia has changed her tune and become so compliant that even though, you know, I mean, I know that End of Springs fireplace is very gateless. I mean, it's still very rural and has so much character. But she seems very insistent and desperate to have these gates. So
Let me ask you a question, Patricia. Why the black versus a natural wood? I'm just curious. Is there like a color scheme that you're after, or is it just, you know, something that you prefer?
I just think aesthetically it's very attractive. I mean, I like the dark ebony up against the lushness of the green trees. You know, I like seeing that along the Principe property on Amagansett Road, the old Principe property. They used to have white fencing all the way along there, and when you stained it black, it really, you know, struck a chord. I don't look great. You know, it's just my taste. But
right, and you're
I
saying
think natural wood against. Sorry.
You know,
I think
I'm
the
sorry.
black that I have out the front with the natural wood gate and the white house, I just think it's too much of a combination.
And all of your 4-foot fencing in the front is that dark gray, correct?
It's ebony, actually. It's closer to black. Yes, correct. But that's all netting. That's not a solid fence. It's complete netting.
No,
it's just 4x4s with netting between it, just so the dog can't get out. That's all that is.
Right. And I lost my screen.
It's totally open, the fence in the front, and it's 3.5 feet high. Well, it's 3.5, closer to 4 feet, I guess. But yeah, I can open it up, no problem at all. I lowered it down to 5 foot. I did want 6 feet, but you didn't want to do that, so I'm fine with anything to try and comply.
I'll tell you something, Tricia, I think once you get that up, you're going to be glad that it's not 6 feet. I really think you're going to feel that it's much more inviting and neighborly, and I think you'll be more happy with it. I think the lower the gates, I just think they look so much nicer than these 6-foot gates. So I'm going to.
You're probably right. Yeah.
I'm going to make a motion, and we'll see, you know, who votes for this. Okay, or Chip's going to make a motion, and we'll see, you know, who votes for this. And Chip, what I'd like to do is include that gate, that white fencing in the front was dropped down to 4 feet. So whoever goes out to do the C of O, if this gets approved, we know that that's part of the resolution.
Okay, so I make a motion that we approve 2 pairs of gates on a semicircular driveway to be no taller than 5 feet, with adjoining posts no taller than 5 feet, painted black, and that the 1x6 planking on the gates be separated by 2.5 inches of open space. And that the white fence that has been cut down to 4 feet and the front yard is confirmed to be at 4 feet.
So the size of the planks, Jonathan said, what, are 5.5 inches?
Yes.
Yeah, it's 1 by 6 lumber. It's about a ½ inch less. Yes.
All right, so it's 5.5 by 2.5 is the design element, right?
Yeah, 5.5, 2.5, 5.5, 2.5.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
All right, and the white fence is down. All right, can I get a second on that, Diane?
Yes, second, and I like the black.
All in favor, Jonathan?
Yes.
Esperanza?
No.
And Betsy, yes. All right, you're good to go. Patricia, thank you for working with us. I think you're gonna like what's come about through all the compromise, and I wish you a lot of luck with it.
Oh, I think so too. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank
Have
you.
a nice evening.
Bye now.
I just need 1 second. Okay. Ernest Rotosh, tax map number 300-87-1-11. And that is 14 Beach Street, Montauk, New York. And I'm wondering, Michael, if Robert's on the line?
I believe so. I can unmute that now. The caller's last 4 digits are 8721. I'll unmute that.
Thank you.
You're such a good boy. You're such a good boy.
Hello, caller, with the last 4 digits 8721. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
And
Hi, Robert.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. And you?
I'm very well. So, Robert, let me just read into the record what this is for and, give the board a little bit of a background. Beach, as in the tree beach, not in the ocean beach, is right off of Montauk Highway, right around the area of the Overlook. It's on the south side of it. It's a little winding street that ends up going down towards Old Montauk Highway. And Robert currently has on his property if I could pull up some pictures, Kyle, of the ones that I took. He has 2 brick pillars, that's perfect, that measure 6 feet from the grade to the top of the cement cap. And then he's got 2-foot copper, iron, whatever, pineapple finials on top, which makes the structures 8 feet. And then if you can see over to the right, there's a black wrought iron gate that closes, and that is approximately from grade around 7 feet. So anything over 6 feet facing the front road, we can't approve, Robert. And this from the edge of the pavement down to where this is, and the driveway actually declined, is about approximately 40 feet from the roadway. And because the driveway is a decline, these don't really appear to be, at 6 feet as big as they are. But Robert, we have an issue with the gate being above 6 and the finials being above 6. Do you want to tell us what you'd like to do?
I will be happy to remove the gate and the finials, no problem whatsoever.
And leave the pillars.
Right.
Okay. Does anybody have a problem with that, Chip?
Wow.
I think the whole thing's very attractive. I would leave the whole thing, but fine.
Well, we can't.
Leave just the pillars. Fine.
Diane?
Well, he's very compliant and willing to get rid of his gate. So what can we say? Thank you.
Esperanza?
Fantastic.
Jonathan? Jonathan, you're muted again.
All right, I apologize. I agree. I think that's a fine solution.
Okay. All right, Robert. So I'm going to make a motion to approve this application to remove the 2-foot pineapple finials off of the 6-foot brick pillars to remain, and the removal of the 7-foot iron gate. Can I get a second?
No problem.
All right. Can I get a second, Esperanza?
Second.
All in favor? Chip?
Yes.
Jonathan?
Aye.
And Diane?
Aye.
Right, okay. And also, Robert, you know that if in the future you want to put a gate up, you're allowed without ARB approval of a 4-foot gate. Anything above 4 and below 6 you need our approval, okay?
Got it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Have a nice evening.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Brent and Wendy Martini, tax map number 300-190-1-13.890 Indian Wells Highway, Amagansett. Diane Benson.
Okay. This.
Excuse me, Diane. Michael, Tara Burke from Land Planning.
I don't see a name associated with any caller ID, but I do have one number with no name attributed to it. Do you have a number associated with that?
What's the
7332?
No.
Seven.
Well, last 4 of the unknown number is 1706.
It might be her only because.
It might be another number for Tara Burke.
Yeah.
Well, if you'd like, I'll open it. We'll see who it is.
Okay, sure.
Okay, I'll unmute that caller now.
Great, thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. It's Tara.
Hi, Tara.
Hi, Tara. Okay, this is an application on Indian Wells Highway, which I'm sure everybody's aware of, that beautiful little stretch at the end of Further Lane. To replace these beautiful.
Kyle? There you go.
Yes, these beautiful pillars and this brickwork. I mean, the craftsmanship probably would be hard to come by these days. And they're architecturally, I mean, they give the street so much character. But they do not meet the town code height limitations, which was determined by this board in January of 2019, I think January of 2019. And it was referred by our board, although we liked it very much, but it was referred for the height variance to the town, to the zoning board. And the client seems inclined to prefer to replace it, to take it away and replace it completely with some very ordinary brick pillars. With simple, this is a picture of their next door neighbor. So basically they want to take away what they have and put something in the same vein as this, although their drawing, there's their drawing. This is what they're proposing, which is the dimensions on the drawing are so tiny. I think the pillars are exactly 6 feet, including the caps, and the gate is maybe, I don't know, 5'10". The neighbor's gate that you just saw the picture of is about 5'5". So I would hope that if they insist on taking away this beautiful pre-existing entryway, that at least they lower this, lower the gate to 5.5 feet or 5 feet.
I'm sorry, Diane, what date did you say that they were before us?
I think it was in.
I don't see them in January of 2009.
Wait. June 27, 2019.
So Tara, were you with this applicant back then?
I was not, but I watched the video from the board's meeting on that night.
Okay, and what took place?
Well, I mean, Diane did a pretty accurate synopsis of what happened. The board, I think as a whole agreed that the existing pillars, gate, and brick walls were pretty exceptional, and everybody loved them, but unfortunately, they were significantly too high to meet the town code.
Right.
The existing pillars are 7 feet 10 inches tall, and that's without the horse head. The gate is 6 foot 9 inches. The pillars on the gate are 8 feet, and the wall itself is 6 feet 7 inches high. So, everything is significantly larger than what the code allows. And the homeowners are devastated because they love that gate and they think it's a really beautiful entryway to their property. However, yeah, I know it's a really just sort of a sad application because they want to keep it, but they don't have time on their side. They've got some open building permits for their house that they really want to close, and they can't close those building permits until they deal with the gate, and the zoning board process takes about a year. So they've come to terms with the fact that they have to reduce it.
Okay, Kyle, can you go back to the actual gate, please, so we can look at that while we're talking? I had a conversation with Diane about this, and we're all a little heartbroken about it. And I did check, and you're absolutely right. The board at that point referred it to ZBA. The other one that was up before this one. And then I talked to David, and I asked him if these predate the code, would we be able to, approve them because they were built before there was a 6-foot height requirement or restriction? And do you know how old they are? Tara, is there any way to get some history on this?
Yeah, I actually did a significant amount of research to see if I could find proof of their existence. And they, I don't think they predate the code, unfortunately. And honestly, the homeowners they're just tired and they don't want to go around and get affidavits and put all the energy into the research to try to prove to the town that they're pre-existing.
What if, I don't know, a circumstance like this is unique because this is so unique, but I don't know that whether we boards can talk to one another and whether we can come to an understanding that will preclude the affidavits and the year-long wait. And if the owners
the affidavits would go to the town board, to the building department, right? If you were trying to prove it pre-existing, that's a building department thing. But if you're trying to get variances, then that's zoning board. I think I appreciate your efforts to save it, but I think at this point in time, they're at the point where they want to replace it with a new gate.
All right, well, let me ask this.
They want to replace it.
What is the highest height of the wall in between those two pillars that we're looking at now?
Oh, that's not so high. The highest point of the gate, the highest point on the gate, I just measured it, is 78 inches. So I would think that's about, did you say the lowest point on the wall?
No, the highest point of the wall.
Well, it's probably about the same, about 78 inches.
Well,
so it's like 6.5.
No, it's going to be like 6 to 8. So it's about a foot.
And the street facing pillars are about a foot taller than the receding, the second group. It's big. It is big, and it's definitely, but it is so. It's in such proportion and it's so charming. But,
let me ask this. I'm not a mason, and I don't know if anybody on the board can speak to this. Will they be able to cut the tops of the pillars to match the height of the highest point of the wall section? So let's say it's 6.5 inches.
Right. And
can you do that? Can you cut that masonry that the brick is in?
Sure.
Of course.
If they were point?
Go ahead.
The highest point on the wall, from when I measured it on site from grade, and this was, like I said, they have construction going on, so I don't know if this was probably 6 months ago, but the highest point was 6 feet 7 inches on the existing walls. And they were, I know when they went back and forth with their architects and their builders, and they were very concerned about the structural integrity with messing with, lowering it, which is why we came to where we're at now.
Right. Well, I wouldn't mess with lowering the wall. I would see if you could lower the pillars to match the wall. We could give some kind of contractor's variance to be, you know, no higher than 7 on them, or you know, 6.5 with, you know,
On the pillars.
on the
I mean,
pillars.
taking the pediments and the finials off.
That would be very tricky because the wall comes in, it's, you know, just below the pediment. And so you're only going to lower a little. You know, this looks like it was put in the 30s. I don't think there was any code out here then.
I don't.
Yeah, I went to this property to see it. The house that it goes with clearly had nothing to do with these gates. There was a whole bunch of old hotels on this stretch of the road. And I think the gates are from a previous building that no longer exists because they don't make sense for the house that's there now.
Right.
Yeah, I went back and I mean, I'm certainly not one to. Sorry to interrupt. No, I was just going to say I'm certainly not one to, you know, argue not keeping something that's gorgeous and pre-existing. But we did a lot of research on everything that you're talking about. We got a lot of the old aerials, and they don't show on the old aerials. So we felt like we're going to have a really hard time, you know, convincing the building inspector that this predated everything.
So you can't see these pillars in this brickwork, yeah. I mean, it's a shame we have to destroy something so beautiful to match a bureaucratic code.
Right, but well, that code also
we 100% agree.
I know, but that code also helps us not look like, you know, up island suburbia too. So let's keep this.
Yeah.
So, but I have one more question, which is, I think, an important part for me on this. Let's just say hypothetically, there was some way that we could preserve these. Would they want to keep that white gate, or do they want to switch the gate to what they're proposing now?
They want to keep it exactly as it is. They love it.
They love it.
Yeah.
And the highest part of that gate is what, about 6?
The highest part of the gate is 78 inches.
Right, so that's 6'5". Okay.
Okay.
David,
I measured it at I'm certainly not disagreeing, but I measured the highest part of the gate at 6 feet 9 inches.
Oh, okay, well, that's one would
79 inches.
Yeah, my notes from that meeting in 2019 say between 6 and 7 inches and 7 feet total with all of these structures. So that makes sense.
You know, that gate, if we had to shave that down a couple inches on that highest point, I think you could. But David, is it worth it for us? And I know that they're in a time constraint. Is there any way that we can find out if we can save this? This just seems to be so wrong. Save it as is. Don't start, cutting it and messing with it, Maybe they can't find them on the aerials, but to Jonathan's point, this stuff was definitely not, in the last 30 years.
No.
The only thing I can say is that I can look into it. Off the top of my head, obviously, I'm not going to be able to come up with a solution that Tara couldn't find.
Yeah.
But I can certainly try if that's what the board's instructions are. I'm happy to.
Tara, can you give us a couple weeks on this to the next meeting?
Yeah,
and we'll be in touch with you along the way.
There was
and I'm happy to collaborate with David as well, and show him everything that I've done. Yeah.
I did some research a couple years ago on a old building, and there was a aerial United States aerial flight that flew over and photographed all of southern Long Island at exactly noon, and everything is very clean, and it seemed extremely clear, black and white. It could be, if you look under, in that area, the geodesic survey type things, you might find that flight.
Let me ask you this, Jonathan. Is it possible for you to get that information and forward that to Tara at a Lighthouse Land Planning?
Yeah. What's your email, Tara?
Well, we can get that to you after.
Right, why don't you just send it to me, Jonathan, and I'll give it to Tara.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
Send it to David.
I will take a look. I'm not.
Thank you, Jonathan. That's very helpful. Very helpful. Okay.
So Tara, I have the town area. I have the town aerials from 1947, 1980, 2001. So if there's
town
anything,
aerials?
Around that 1947 one, that would be amazing, or 1960 or somewhere in that range. I mean, we're certainly willing. But I guess the next question is, just because we don't want, we came to the board once in 2019. We attempted to come in early 2020 and then pulled from that, and now we're back now. So I guess, is there a way to sort of say a plan B of if we can't prove that this is pre-existing, could we come back with a submission of lowering it to meet the gate height at 6 feet 9 inches? Is that something you might be amenable to as a plan B?
I think you need to give us a little time, okay? Just to have a conversation about what we can try to do to save it as is. I'd rather do that, and then knowing that there might be a plan B, if we can't.
You
Okay.
can always tear it down. You can't always save it.
Yeah, you can't build it again.
So the other thing is, Tara, isn't this a new owner than what was in 2019?
No.
Same owner?
2019, same owner, yeah.
Okay.
But part of the reason
they-
that they purchased this property was because they love the gate.
I bet.
But I just want to ask you a question, just so I'm clear. So when they were given the directive to go to ZBA, they never went and filled out an application to be heard? Is that what I'm understanding?
So, well, yes and no. I wasn't involved back then. The homeowners were not actually aware that this went to the ARB. It was represented by somebody else for them. So when I brought it to you guys, it was a couple of months ago. I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was a couple of months ago. And Diane actually called me and said, we already talked about this. So that's when I discovered this was on the 2019 agenda. I contacted the homeowners. They said they had absolutely no idea. So since whenever that was, a couple of months ago, that I spoke to Diane, we've done all of the research, tried to see if we could figure out a way to say it was pre-existing. Came up short on that. They decided they don't want to wait a year to go to the zoning board, and then we redesigned it. So that was all pretty recent that we have been working on it.
I want to be really clear. I want to be really clear. When this came before us, so on June 27, 2019, Lori Wilshire of Land Planning Services represented the applicant, and my notes say specifically that this is being tabled and requested either the applicant go to building or zoning for a variance for the gate and pillars.
Correct. Yeah, I have the same.
So that information went to their representative, and whether, it fell through the cracks or it didn't, however that went, we'll give it one last shot. Okay. Just give us, we got to sort of, regroup from this week, and I'll work with Diane and David next week on this. Okay.
And tell them that we're so glad to know that they love it, and we'd love to help them save it, and we're going to try.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. I just asked that I know everyone's busy, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks we could get some headway on it.
Well, the other thing that I want to just throw out there, and again, this is out of my wheelhouse, is that if there's other things that they're looking to close out on, maybe we can get some kind of memorandum that this doesn't become part of it, that it's still in the process of review, possibly. I don't know. David's going to probably either, hit me or say, yeah, Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like, let's not panic. And there's always, ways of trying to, help this along if we can. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tara.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you, everybody.
And then Jonathan will send that
Thank you.
information to David, and David will forward it to you about that area.
I'll just email David right now.
Okay. Well, David doesn't have it. Jonathan has it.
No, but then he'll have my email, right?
Oh, okay. All right. Perfect. Great. All right. Thanks, Tara.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. This is for...
Wait, so we are tabling it, yes? Did you say that? Okay.
I don't have, I think, the correct spelling of Petra's last name, so I'm just going to ask him when he comes on to pronounce it for me. And this is tax map number 300-39-6-3146 Camberley Road in East Hampton. Michael, if you can see if there's anybody on the line for this.
There could be. I don't know if this is the right number, but it's the only number I have. The last 4 digits are 4416. I can unmute that now.
This is me. Thank you so much.
Is this Petros?
This is it. Yes. I'm so sorry that my name was misspelled. So I'll be happy to provide the correct spelling.
Can you spell that for us now, please?
Sure. It's E as in Edward, F as in Frank, T as in Tom, H as in Harry, I as in India, M as in Mary, I-O-U.
Can you pronounce that for us?
Efthymiou.
Efthymiou. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Greek.
Okay.
I would like to thank the board for their time and expertise in these challenging times. And I would like to introduce myself. Myself and my wife are both physicians. We love, obviously, the town. And we're requesting a gate. We have a 16-month toddler who keeps running toward the road. And together some concerns about tick-borne illnesses, we're kindly requesting a fence and a gate.
Okay, we're gonna let Jonathan read this into the record what the application is for first before we review your application, okay?
Okay, absolutely. Thank you.
The application seems to be just for an automatic front gate. It doesn't mention a fence and so forth.
No, it says back fence on the application.
Back fence.
Front fence 6 feet high, 25 feet total length, back fence, something total length, something feet. Do you see it on the application, John, the second page?
I'm on page 2, yeah. It says, what is proposed? 20, I don't see any of these other things on here.
Well, I have the second page of their application, and it said they had been referred to the ARB by the building department, and it says, if yes, explain why, and he wrote, request a 6-foot fence.
I don't have that page.
You don't have page 2?
No, I don't. Well, I have a second page, but it doesn't say 2 on it. It doesn't say any of that stuff.
Well, what does it say? Do you have the right application?
This is 46 Camberley Road, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The second page says
material teak, proposed gray.
Right, but read above it, up at H, where it says, yes, explain why.
It doesn't say anything. There's no words there. Explain why.
Okay, well, mine says requested a 6-foot fence permit and was something that ARB approved is needed. I was notified that this is something ARB approved. Then down underneath, it says, what is the proposed existing structure? It says front fence, 6 foot high, 25 feet total in length, back fence, I'll have to ask Petros what that is, a total length. And then I don't see anything about, unless the structure is the gate, the timber, the AZAC timber grade gate. So this is the one, Jonathan, where they didn't submit a.
Correct. They sent a photograph of
a fence. So why don't we do this, Jonathan? Why don't we, it's weird that I have one type of application and you have another. And the one that's up on the screen doesn't have the language that mine does.
Well, the one that's up on the screen is the one I have, so.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm sorry about that. It's hard to be able to review a application when you don't have all the information.
Right.
Let's look at Jonathan's pictures, and Jonathan, you tell us about the property.
Yeah, let's do that. And then there's a picture that came with the, this picture came the other day as an example of what I thought was the gate So you can explain what that is, Petros?
Yes, so I'll have my wife explain because he drew that.
Hello, this is Olga. I'm Patrice's wife. So this is exactly what we try to do in the front. The gate and the fence is exactly the same, and the automatic gate slides along the fence, so it looks like all one structure. That's why. But the way we submitted the application, we sent email and application to Brittany in three separate applications: one for the gate, one for the wooden part of the fence, and third one for the sides to be a wire deer fence. So maybe that's why you're not seeing that. But I'm looking at the email that I sent, and of course the hard copy is pretty much the same. It was three separate applications, one for each, because I didn't know we could put it all in one.
All right, wait, Olga, I got to ask you a question. Did you pay three different fees for this? For
no,
each
I did not. So
application?
I asked Brittany if how we should pay, and she said since it's one project, I pay one, but if it's not correct, we can always, review the payment later.
I was afraid that you overpaid for each application. But I think that you're absolutely right. The problem is that you put all three items that you want approval on three separate applications. And when it went through the process of getting to the board to review it, somebody got one application for the gate, somebody got one application for the fence, and somebody got something else for the babysitter. I mean, who knows? Okay. So that being said, let's take a look at some of let's take a look at some of the pictures so we could understand your property.
Yeah, so in this picture, I can explain. So if you can see, the whole front looks like one structure. As I said, gate slides along, so it's just like one part slides along the other part. And then the sides, because we have a lot of greenery on the sides of the property, we don't really need to add wood to make it crowded. We just need a wire fence along the greenery when you see around the corner.
Is the wire fence like the one in the corner of this photograph?
Yes, you see there is this building has a hedge. We don't have a hedge, we just have different bushes and trees. So along that greenery, which is the hedge in the picture, would be a wire fence. And only front and the back would be a wooden structure.
Let me ask you this, Jonathan, is this this on the property now?
I don't think this is the property.
This is somebody else's.
No, it's not the property. This is just an example of what we want to do. Our property has no fence or gate whatsoever.
Yeah, right.
All right. So now we understand what you're.
I sent in some photographs of what was there.
Thank you.
We could take a look at it, maybe.
It looks like these are the only two items loaded in the file: the applicant's application and the photo that they submitted of what they requested.
Wait a minute. Didn't you send pictures this morning, Jonathan?
I did. Yeah.
And Brittany, I asked you this morning if you uploaded them. There was one for Bull Path, if I'm recall, and there was, let me look at my email.
Yeah, Bull Path.
Bull Path and 46 Camberley, they were in a file.
I see Camberley.
Is that it there?
You see it?
Yeah, they're being loaded now.
Okay, thank you.
It's a zip file, so.
Is there only two, Brittany?
I think there's another one or two.
Okay. Well, we'll wait till Brittany's complete and then we'll.
Yeah, there are 3 images.
So while we're doing that, Olga, if you could tell us exactly what you're looking for. Are you looking for fencing on the front part of your property, on the sides and the back, plus a gate?
So we already have the wire fence in the back. It's only 4 foot. We want to increase it to 6 foot, as my husband said, because we're concerned about, deer jumping in and the child catching any tick-borne illness. And at the front, we don't have any fencing whatsoever. So we're trying to put, you see the pines on the left? There is similar greenery on the right of the house. So we just want to put the deer fence 6 foot tall along those green bushes and trees. And in the front, we want to put the gate and the wooden fence. So it just looks nicer aesthetically rather than having wire.
Where does the gate go?
Wooden gate, yes, and wooden gate, and the fence would match the color of the house, the gray.
Right.
Yeah.
And what, is there a picture of where the gate's gonna go on the
There
house?
should be. There should be.
So this is the side you see on the right. There are bushes. I mean, right now you don't see a lot of them, but there's more towards the front. So that's for the wire fence, like along the bushes. And then at the front, like as you're facing the house, we have a lot in the front. We have pine trees in the front. So along those pine trees, we just want to put the fence and a gate so the deer cannot go in.
Okay. Hey, David, do you remember my question to you about the front plane of the house needing ARB approval if it's over 4 feet, or if they can have 6 feet if it's at the front plane? Do you remember we were discussing this? I don't remember if you ever came.
I do, Betsy, but I'd hesitate to answer this one without looking at the survey and really seeing the location of everything.
Well, it looks like the 6 foot slat fencing is at the front plane of the house. So I know behind the front plane.
That's the back plane of the house.
This is the back of the house.
No, this is the front of the house. That fence is at the back of the house.
Are you sure? This
Again,
is
that's why it's important to see it marked on a survey.
Yeah.
Right, wait,
that fence is 6 feet at the house. It's 7 feet over by the trees.
Right, but Jonathan, am I not looking at the back deck here?
No, I didn't go in the back. It's locked.
Okay. So that's in the front of the house?
I'm sorry for interruption. This is the front of the house. This is the front deck. And the fence that you see was already approved from the previous owners. We didn't do this. That was already with the property. So this fence basically divides front and back of the house, but it's not like the one that we are requesting. The one we're requesting is all the way in the front of the house, in the front of the property.
Right. There's one more photograph.
All right, wait. I just want to deal with one thing at a time.
All right, okay.
Okay. The 6 foot fencing that you have right there, and then what you want to put in the back, you can have 6 foot fencing in your backyard as your right. You don't need ARB approval for it, unless that it is in front of your house.
So yes, we also want the one.
I know. I want to deal with one thing at a time, though, Olga. If you want to go ahead and put up 6 foot deer fencing in your back along your tree line, you can do that. You don't need our approval for that. Okay?
Thank you for that.
Yes. Okay, so now let's go to the front, where the driveway gate wants to go.
Yes.
All right, well, yeah. Go to that one that ends in 88, I think. There's another 7853.
First, yeah.
That one.
Excellent. Okay.
Now, this is wide open.
Right. Well, but before we go into the gate, David, if you can see that front, that gate that's in front of the front plane of the house, they would need ARB approval for that, correct? Because it's faces front of the street and it's in front of the plane of the house, or alongside the plane of the house.
Betsy,
you're thinking about the white fence?
Yes.
Yeah, the code speaks from distance, from the edge of the pavement, not plane of the house. To the extent that it's located in the front plane of the house. Do we know how far away from the edge of the pavement that fence is?
I think we still need a survey, don't we?
Yeah.
I think there was a survey, was there not?
The existing is 100 feet from the front of the house, the white one. It's already been, again, we inherited it from previous owners. It was already on the survey of the house.
It's okay.
So then it's okay. If it's more than 50 feet from the front of the pavement, you can have a 6 foot. So all of your fencing around the side of your house and the back of your house, you can have 6 feet. So now the only thing that you need to get approval for ARB is your front gate. And if you want fencing in the front of the house. So tell us what you're looking to do here.
So in the front of the house, as you were looking at the driveway, along the line that divides the pebbles and the cobblestone, we want to put the gate and continue with the fence in the front of the house.
At 6 feet?
Correct.
Well, my question to you, Olga, would be why do you want to, if you have your whole backyard fenced in, why do you want to fence in your front yard?
Because our kid is like running in the front yard, and then there's a lot of deer coming in. So we want to like block the deer from coming into the front of the property for obvious reasons, because they bring a lot of foreign illnesses.
Well, look, here's the problem, Olga. Everybody who would want to keep the deer out because of deer coming into their property, everybody would be putting up big high fences and gates, and the deer would have no place to go, and they would be all standing out in the street. And we are in a position where you have most of your property enclosed in the back. If we were to grant you 6-foot gate and 6-foot fencing in the front, it would be almost 100% of your property enclosed, and we can't do that.
Not to mention, we can't do 6 feet.
6 feet.
Well, they need approval from us.
Yeah.
for it. So my
They
suggestion,
can do 4 feet.
right, my suggestion to you, if you want a little gate so that you could, keep your kid from running, your child from running out into the street, and 4 feet fencing, like you want, you can do that without our approval. You can make a really nice 4-foot fence and a 4-foot gate, and you don't need us to tell you that you can have it or not. Anything over that, you need our approval.
Can we have 5 fence just to, I don't know.
Well,
just make sure that
I can't speak for the board, but I'll tell you because I'm in the middle of talking, and then we'll ask the board to weigh in because I'm getting a sore throat. The type of fencing that you showed us that you want is going to look like a 5-foot wall. It's too solid, it's too big. So I would say that I wouldn't be in favor of that. So Jonathan, where are you on this?
Well, so what the gate for the driveway is what you're talking about, or is it just a swinging gate for person to walk through?
No,
That's
it's like
the electric gate, a sliding gate.
Okay, all right, all right. So if you have you could put in a sliding gate like you have drawn, like the photograph, painted your gray and everything, and there's plenty of room for that to work there. It'd be set back at some point between those two lights, the lights in the turning around area and so forth. That's something to do. You can also run a 4-foot deer fence, wire fence, on your property around, and then you can put another 4-foot fence inside of that several feet, and the deer won't jump over the 2 4-foot fences. They won't do that. So you could protect your child that way, and you'd still have a leave area in the front along the road that is open, and you'd be able to see all the way through.
The other thing, Olga, just to keep in mind is whatever you decide to do, if you decide to put up a 4-foot gate, it needs to be 20 feet in from the roadway so that an emergency vehicle can pull into your driveway, an ambulance or a fire truck. Okay?
Yeah, we'll make sure. Absolutely. Let me ask you another question. If the issues of that being too dense, can we make it like wider space between the planks, cover it with a wire fence, as you just suggested, instead of putting 2 fences, and keep it at 5 feet?
What's going on up? Jonathan, what's the, excuse me, Olga, what's the neighborhood like up there?
I can't hear what Olga said at all.
She wants a 5-foot gate and
yeah, I got that part, but all the other things that she said. It's a nice neighborhood. This is a nice house in that neighborhood. I didn't take pictures down the street, but it's pretty open. There's not a lot of fences.
And is it highly trafficked?
No.
Exactly. Yes. Okay.
So I'm sorry, can I say something? Because I don't think you heard everything I said. So what I was trying to say is like what we saw on the end of our street is is the concern of that looking like a wall and being too dense for the fence. Instead of doing dense planks as we initially suggested, could we put 2 horizontal planks and wire in between? So it will be open enough, but maybe we could keep it at 5 feet.
It's just a lot of fencing going on.
Yes.
It's your whole backyard is fenced in with white fencing, 6 foot, it's solid, it's not open, there's no,
most of the fencing in the back actually is wire fence.
No, I know, but I'm saying from the front, I'm talking about the front scale.
Right, okay, sorry.
Okay. So Diane,
I'm afraid that
what's your take on this?
I think the white fence was required to be done that way because we have a pool, and apparently neighbors told us for the safety concerns we should keep it closed at all times so kids cannot go back and jump in the pool or drown in the pool, whatever. So that we inherited that way, and we kept it that way because we didn't want to again be a reason for safety concerns.
Well, I know, but I think what you're misunderstood what I'm saying is the type of fencing that you have at 6 feet at the plane of your house and the back plane of your house on either side represents a lot of fencing. So if you're going to then put more fencing at 5 feet, in the front plus another 5-foot gate, it's way too much.
Yeah.
That's we're trying to maintain the rural character of our area. If everybody starts putting up gates and fences, we're not gonna look like East Hampton anymore. We're gonna look like Islip, Long Island. I mean, not that there's any problem with Islip, but I'm just saying. This is
not like here.
It's not like here.
Why don't you put up my last photo? All right. That's looking down the street.
Very open and very
nice little post and rail fencing,
Yeah. As far as any ticks and everything, I mean, the deer are not the only tick carriers also. Keep that in mind. And if there's not that much traffic in your area, your child will grow up and you won't have that issue for much
longer. You can put a 4-foot gate and that will stop them from running in the road.
Definitely.
Exactly.
And ticks are going to climb underneath a fence or a gate anyway. I mean,
yes, and you can always spray
everywhere.
You can spray. I mean, it's just part of living in the woods.
Yes.
So, Chip, I haven't heard anything from you.
I'm in agreement with the board consensus. I don't like any more fencing on this property over 4 feet. And, there's been a lot of good suggestions. They need to decide what they want to do.
Right. So, you know what, Petrov and Olga, I want to thank you for coming to the board. I think it's great that you can go ahead with the back fencing no higher than 6 feet as you would like. And, what you're hearing from us is that we're reluctant to approve anything over 4 feet. If you want to come back to us with an actual design of a more open, more neighborly looking type of fencing and gates over 4 feet, we'll entertain it. But what you're asking for us now, we can't approve.
No, I totally understand. And I'll just go with the 4 feet and take your advice into consideration.
Great. Okay.
I mean, I had an idea of serving the design and the type of living here. So it's okay.
Yeah. This way you can do exactly what you want on the 4 feet. And I think you'll be happy with it. Okay. 4 feet looks really nice. It does. Okay. Great. All right. So we're gonna, what are we doing here, David? Am I denying the application or I'm just?
No, well,
no, they
why
can
don't you
draw it.
table it for now, Betsy? I don't really know what.
True. Table.
If you deny it, you deny it. So
let's table it and they can come back whenever they want to.
If they wanted to continue.
When they want.
Right. Okay. Great. So we're going to just table this in case
unless they just want to withdraw it. It would be up to them.
Would you like to withdraw the application or leave it open?
If we don't need for 4 feet fence and gate, then we cannot withdraw it because I think we will be going with the 4 feet construction.
Okay, so we'll withdraw it. So you withdraw it. All right, great. All right, good luck to you and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. All right, I'm going to read the tax map number into this for the next one, and then I got to go out on my deck because the wind just almost blew something off my deck. I got to go grab it before it goes any further into my house. Stephen and Andrea Mandelsberg, tax map number 300-126-1-18.45177 Cross Highway to Devon in Amagansett, and that's Diane Benson for certificate of occupancy.
Yes.
Excuse me, Chair. That person is in the waiting room in Zoom. I'm going to admit them now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Hi there.
We seem to have a little feedback, actually. Excuse me, Mr. Mendelberg. If you could make sure to mute the broadcast if it's in the room with you, perhaps, and just use the Zoom.
I just shut off my phone. I think that was the problem.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Our resolution states that we have approved at a maximum height of 7 feet the existing driveway gate posts and black chain link fencing, and we did that because you are obscured from the road, and we felt it was discreet enough. And we thought that was very nice, but we conditioned the approval on the removal of all non-dark sky compliant lighting. Now, did you change the lighting?
Yes, actually, I believe I don't know whether it was you or someone else who came to visit specifically pointed out the need to replace the light fixtures on the driveway gate itself. And we did replace that with dark sky compliant lighting.
So this is new lighting.
Yes, I submitted both the specifications and a photo of the new. There you have it. Thank you very much.
All right. The other ones were more sort of architectural lights.
They were dark, but we had no problem finding them. We also submitted a electrical certificate showing that they were installed in compliance
with the dark
applicable regulations. And so we'd very much like to have a C of O issued now that we've done everything that needed to be done.
That we asked.
Right.
Yes.
Diane, are there 2 lights or are there more lights?
No, that's it.
2.
There's a like one. There's another picture, I believe, of the entire
Yes,
gate.
there it is.
That was the old light.
That was the old light.
Yes.
The old, right.
That was the old light. Those were the lights.
And so these are the dark sky compliant. Well, then I think you've done what we asked. And so I would, unless anyone else has any more comments, I would make a motion that staff contact the building department that this is ready now for a C of O.
Thank you very much.
Can I get a second on that, Chip?
Second.
And all in favor, Jonathan?
Aye, yes.
Esperanza?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Okay, you're good to go, Stephen.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and appreciate what you do.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Take that.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'd love to hear that.
Yeah, very nice.
We hardly ever hear that.
I've been listening, and I'm a longtime resident of Amagansett, and I'm familiar with all the addresses you've considered. So if I had a cap, I'd doff my cap to you all.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Nice evening, Stephen.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Can I ask, when do you think the C of O would issue? Brittany from your office said it should take just a few days.
David, if you can reply to that, please.
Yeah, so what happens is we draft a memo to the building department, and they issue the CO as soon as they get it. So we can try to do that expeditiously for you, certainly, early next week or, around that time.
That would be great, since it's been pending since last December, and I know we were before you on January 29th. That would be great. Thank you very much.
Good. All right. Thank you, and thanks, David.
Bye-bye.
Jan and Claudia Geldmacher, tax map number 300-145-1-44.1, 150 Bull Path in East Hampton. Jonathan.
Okay, this was for a fence that was located partly on the neighbor's property. We told them that if they move the fence, they would be fine. They have actually moved it. The surveyor was supposed to get the survey to us and showing the moved fence, but I don't know whether they got it in the office or not. But I saw it. I took a photograph of it. It's up, moved. It's about 5 feet away, parallel with the neighbor's fence.
Mhm. Was there something else on that? I have a note about lowering 2 driveway gate posts.
Oh yeah, those 2 posts are they're lowered.
The 4 feet.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's ready to go?
Ready to go. Yeah.
Okay, can you make a motion to?
I move that we approve this and I'll allow the C of O to commence.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, James Dooley and Christian Dickey.
Did we vote?
I know, excuse me for 1 minute. I'm sorry, what?
Did we vote?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor? Thank you, Esperon.
Aye.
Aye. Jonathan?
Aye.
Aye. Diane?
Aye.
Aye. And Betsy, aye. Thank you, Esperanza. All right, I'm just going to read this into the record. Tax map, I'm sorry, James Dooley and Kirsten Dickey, tax map number 300-159-1-3.11. This is 16 Roberts Lane, East Hampton. This has been tabled by the applicant's representative. William Anderson, tax map number 300-151-1-7.68, 10 Katy Lane in Amagansett. Diane Benson.
Yes, this resolution approved an existing black painted metal driveway gate with stone piers to be reduced in height to 6 feet. And I must say they've reduced it to like 5'1". So
better.
But yes, much better. And removing the lights that were installed on top of the piers, which are completely gone now. There is no lighting. So I see no problem with this certificate of occupancy, and I make a motion that staff advise the building department that it's ready for a CFO.
Okay, and I'm going to make a motion to close the meeting.
All right.
Can I get a second on that, Esperanza?
A second.
All in favor, Chip?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Jonathan?
I'm gonna have to think about that, but I'll go along.
No, 3 hours. Thank you, Brittany, Kyle, David,
everybody.
Everyone have a good evening. Be well.
Good night.
You too.